If you've ever woken up to news of a movie like Louvre heist in broad daylight, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Here's what I don't understand about these like museum jewel art heists. What are you going to do with the stuff? Like, how are you going to sell it? You're not going to take it apart. All of the diamonds and stuff are very specific diamonds that have been graded and looked at and photographed. Well, what are you going to do? What are you doing? In any case, reminded me of Ocean's 11, some crazy nonsense. Anyway, I hope none of y'all were involved in that, but also I hope that you all had a great weekend. I am coming fresh off of multiple parlays booked on Sunday, so I'm feeling pretty good. It's a Victory Monday here today as the Bears got a win. So you know what? We're going to start this week off in an amazing fashion. It's going to be a crazy week because a lot of the tech earnings start. We're actually going to show you the earnings calendar. We're going to go over a lot of that stuff, and we're going to talk about some of the news. We already have some runners here today. It's a Monday. It's the end of October. We're going to have some fun here today. Benzinga's pre-market playbook, the Monday edition for October 20th, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. Hopefully you had lots of time with friends, family, and time to rest and do whatever it is that you folks do on the weekend. I know I had a great weekend. We got the car all cleaned up, new coat of wax for the fall. Everything is good. And then we spent a lot of time hanging out with friends and family, watching football. Even made some money on the side of that. But now we're back to our day job here. We're going to get thrown right back into the lion's den. We're going to break everything down. Good to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Corey is first, folks. Hello and good morning. Corey, you are first. Early bird gets the worm. That is a great way to start off the new week here on a Monday. Good morning and welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Peter, I hope you got those EMAs added. Azrar, good morning. It's good to see you again. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Big Bear Hug, good morning. Neville, Catherine, and Faves, good morning. Alvin, good morning. It's good to see you again. James, good morning. Kona, good morning. Graf, Candace, and Darkside Hemi, good morning. Jonathan and Kevin, good morning. The producers locked in and are ready to go. Producer does a good job betting too from across the pond. Just passing through, good morning. Big Hurt Trading, Brent, good to see you again. Good morning. Sun-Kissed Yogi, welcome back. Good to see you again. Fatty Liver King, good to have you back. Welcome, brother. Maverick, good morning. Big Bees, good morning. Mia culpa here. Shout out Big Bees. Big Bees pulled his best Babe Ruth over the weekend. Flew to the other side of the world. Then right before the games told me, Ryan, you're about to get smoked in fantasy football. And then smoked me like a Philly blunt in fantasy football. It was pretty impressive performance there. Big Bees, good job getting the win there. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Tara, good morning. Welcome back. Johnny, good morning. I can't pronounce your name. Gukak? That's the best I can do. Good morning. Welcome back. Bears. That's right. Big Bear Hug. We got it. Day Trader. Good morning. Welcome back. Get to the Choppa. Good morning. Welcome back. Brian says, Bears getting so many Victory Mondays. It's killing this Jets fan. Yo, I don't know how many we're going to get. That team is still figuring stuff out. But the fact that they're winning instead of going through a 10-game losing streak like they did last year, I'll take it. I'm sorry about your Jets, though. Rooster, good morning. Welcome back. Zoo, good morning. Cam, good morning. Ricardo, good morning. Smita, good morning. JJ and Tori, good morning. Durkis, Special K, and Sean, good morning. Sean says, Andis, Daddy, sir, talk to me. Under 8, bought in big. Your trade is your own. I still have a good portion. I've sold a lot to make sure that I've protected my trade since this trade did originate at 77 cents. But I've sold a lot on the way up here, still have some. I am definitely hoping for a move higher. I still have targets at 12 and 15 and would like to see it higher. We interviewed the CEO, Eric Brock, on Friday. He was excellent. He very clearly has a long-term view here. And so we might see some volatility. In the meantime, I think long term it's going to be huge. We also had a PR unrelated to Ondas specifically, but more to the drone industry. We had a PR late last week saying that the drone market is going to be like $95 billion total addressable market, or TAM, by 2030. So we're talking about an entire industry here that's going to grow rapidly. We got a little bit more color about the Rift Dynamic drone that they're going to incorporate in. So it all sounds pretty good there. We're going to need some time. We did move pretty far, pretty quickly, and now we're pulling back from that, which to me feels normal. Will your trade work? That I don't know. I hope it is. Last week I added Ondas calls, the 11 calls for December. So I did add a trading position on this pullback. No change to the investment position on the stock that I have. We'll see. Fingers crossed, though. Good to have you back, Sean. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Ed, good morning. Matthew, good morning. I love the bear down calls in here, Matthew. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Michael, good morning. Mawuli, good morning. Bogey's Adventure, good morning. Frank and Zach, good morning. Marty, good morning. Bobby, good morning. Bernhard, Arhan, and Paulo, good morning. Hans Yolo, good morning. Yassine, it's good to see you. Welcome back. Enjoy the quiet skies while they last. Well, that's what I'm thinking. The Bears are going to play the Ravens here. The Ravens are going to have Roquan Smith back and Lamar Jackson back. It's going to be turbulent, to play off your words there. But for right now, we are definitely going to enjoy it. Glass is always half full, day trader. Always. Too much energy to do something otherwise. James, good morning. Angelito, good morning. Scott, good morning. And Purgatory Park, good morning. Also, Jay Rice, good morning. Glad you're joining us here in the early block, Jay. Great to see you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the stock market today. All right, futures are green across the board here. A little bit of green arrows as we move into the pre-market open here, into the open. I got the S&P up 0.29%, the Dow up 0.1%, and the NASDAQ leading the way higher at 0.38% ahead of the open. Let's also take a look at some cues from last session here. The market ended on a broadly positive note on Friday, with most sectors finishing higher. Consumer staples was the top performing sector, posting a significant gain of 1.23%. Other strong performers included financials and energy. On the negative side, only two sectors declined. Utilities was the biggest laggard, followed by materials. All three benchmark indices logged weekly gains, with the S&P 500 advancing 0.63%, the NASDAQ up 0.45%, and the Dow up by 0.52%. On Sunday, President Trump again warned that the U.S. economy would face significant challenges if the Supreme Court were to rule against the majority of the tariffs imposed earlier this year. Investors will watch out for major earnings this week, which include Tesla, Intel, Netflix, Coca-Cola, and Procter & Gamble. The 10-year Treasury bond back above 4% at 4.01%, and the 2-year bond is at 3.47%. Now, we do have some stocks in focus here today. The first one is going to be Cleveland-Cliffs. This is ticker CLF. It rose 1.13% in the pre-market on Monday, as analysts expect it to report a quarterly loss of 48 cents per share on revenue of $4.9 billion. Now, it does look like Cleveland-Cliffs earnings are out here. Let me see if I can actually get that for you. EPS was minus 0.482 versus the minus 0.45 estimate. It looks like Cleveland-Cliffs here is trading higher in the pre-market here. It looks like we had a high there of 14.98. It's backed off a little bit here at 1445, so right under 1450. Looks like that is trading higher here. Micron, the second stock on the list, that's ticker MU, that was up 3.27% following a Reuters report that the company will stop providing server chips to data centers in China. So Micron also trading up here in the pre-market. I know we took a look at those charts last week. That one's still very extended. Micron printing 210 here in the pre-market. Moderna, ticker mRNA, that was up 0.65% after the government's renewed national immunization strategy to combat rising COVID-19 variants. BMNR making our list here, Bitmine Immersion Technologies, that jumped 6.1% after the co-founder and CEO Tom Lee announced that the digital asset treasury firm will be launching a staking solution, quote, very soon. Also worth noting, Bitcoin was up here this morning, followed by Ethereum. That's generally bringing Bitmine Immersion with it. Coinbase rounds out our list here, ticker COIN. Shares advanced 3.58% after the company unveiled an all-in-one financial platform for small and medium businesses, enabling them to receive crypto, manage assets, and earn up to 4.1 APY on USDC stablecoins. All right, let's take a look at some insights from analysts. Day trade, really just to clean up here. Sorry, I was referring to the drones. Yeah, there's going to be a lot. I think you're right on this. I think there's going to be a lot. There's going to be some disappointment in that industry. There's going to be some more popping in that industry. And there's going to be some M&A in that industry. Where do all of the cards fall at the end of this dance? I don't know, but definitely looking to play it. Currently positioned in one, will likely play others before this is all said and done. And Jay mentioning that Giants Broncos was the game of the year. Oh, that was true. That is true. You basically only needed to turn on the fourth quarter, and you got treated to one heck of a football game there on Sunday. Anyway, back to the market here and some insights from analysts. As markets head into the trading day here this week, analysts are highlighting a robust corporate performance. You know what? I forgot the SPY chart, but we'll do that here in a sec. Analysts are highlighting robust corporate performance while also flagging growing pressures on the American consumer. Charlie Bello, chief market strategist at Creative Planning, pointed to the strength of the current earnings season as a key driver for record high markets. With 10% of companies having reported, Bello notes, the S&P 500 operating earnings are expected to hit another record high on a trailing 12 months basis, up 10% over the last year. He emphasized that underlying fundamentals remain, quote, very positive, and that the main driver for the market is earnings, earnings, and earnings. For anyone that wants to go into any of these Infomatic tweets, I'll go ahead and throw the link to the story in here. They will have linked to all of the tweets and threads in it. Conversely, Ryan Dietrich, chief market strategist at Carson Group, shed light on a significant headwinds from tariffs, citing Goldman Sachs research. Dietrich warned that the cost burden is shifting away from businesses and on the shoppers. While, quote, consumers are paying 37% of the tariffs currently, it will eventually be 55%. This analysis also suggests that the U.S. businesses reduced their share of cost from 51% down to 22%. The resulting squeeze on consumers could challenge future spending and corporate profitability. Those infographics in the same link that I just put down there. Real quickly, here's some upcoming events for this week. On Monday, U.S. Leading economic indicators will be released by 10. Tuesday, we've got Governor Waller speaking. Wednesday, we've got Michael Barr speaking. On Thursday, the initial jobless claims data for the latest week will be delayed because of the ongoing shutdown. Existing home sales for September should be out by 10. Vice Chair of Supervision Michelle Bowman will testify before the Senate Banking and Housing and Urban Affairs Committee at 10. Governor Barr will speak at 10:25. Again, those are on Thursday. On Friday, the delayed headline and core consumer price index data for September will be released at 8:30. And October's S&P Flash U.S. Services PMI and Manufacturing PMI will be out by 9:45, and September new home sales data will be delayed because of the ongoing shutdown. Okay, let's take a look at some charts here. We're going to start with the SPY chart. We're going to go back to that. And then I also want to take a look at the earnings calendar here. As mentioned, we're going to have a ton of earnings coming up here this week. I do want to get your folks' opinion on plays here. Obviously, we're going to have Anne-Marie on tomorrow, so we might be able to set up some option plays for that in the Anne-Marie segment tomorrow. But I'm interested into what earnings reports y'all folks are interested here this week. We'll do that here in a sec. Starting with the SPY here, we are currently sitting at 666.39. So for those of you that are superstitious, be careful. 666.39 here. We are above the 20-day moving average. This has been one of the key levels that we have used as both support and resistance, and that again is going to come into play here today. We'll see if the market trades against 665. If we look in the pre-market, it's kind of done that already. Kind of use this 665 as some support. We'll see if that holds up when the regular session opens. Otherwise, we are looking at 667.34, previous all-time high, and 673-ish as a potential range to trade back in. I think if we get in that range and trade sideways, that's actually good for a potential move up on the back of some type of good earnings report or some type of good macro news there. So that's where we're at with the SPY earnings calendar. Let's take a look at it. And again, this is what I really want to get your folks' opinion. What stocks are you looking at here today? What are the big earnings reports that you are looking at? I guess I shouldn't say today. I should say this week. As mentioned, we did have Cleveland Cliffs here this morning. They're trading higher. We do have some more regional banks here, including Zion, after hours here today. We'll see if that problem has been totally priced in or if we have some more weakness on the back of that. And then starting tomorrow, we have some other pretty big reports here. I know we don't talk a lot about NASDAQ, but they're reporting in the morning, along with Lockheed Martin, Philip Morris, Coke, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, 3M, GM, GE. Those are probably your biggest one, maybe Picard as a honorable mention there. A lot of defense names reporting Tuesday morning. We'll see where that goes. And then Tuesday after the close, Capital One, another big bank there, Texas Instruments and Netflix. Those are going to be probably your biggest ones there. The biggest ones for the rest of the week, yeah, that mostly comes on Wednesday after hours as we have O'Reilly's, IBM, Tesla, and Lam Research all on Friday after hours. Then on Thursday after hours, we have Intel. That should be an interesting one as well. T-Mobile Thursday morning, Honeywell Thursday morning. So we start with some pretty big companies here, and I'm curious to know which ones are the companies that y'all folks are looking to play here today. And of course, do you have some type of thought on where we go with either one of those? Would love to know throughout the course of the day, and would love to set up some trades with Anne-Marie, if possible, a little bit. We'll do that tomorrow. So get that list ready. I see Netflix being mentioned here in the chat. That one to me makes a lot of sense. That and Tesla, probably the two that I'm looking for the most. Maybe I'll even suggest Netflix to Anne-Marie for tomorrow. That would make a lot of sense. All right, let's roll through some of the news here. No guest here today. We'll get 13 on as soon as he rolls out of bed. Let me get you all prepared for the news. Then we'll take a look at the movers and we'll get set up for the regular session today on this glorious Victory Monday. Steve Eisman dismisses the 2008 comparisons after bank earnings, saying only marginal credit deterioration so far, not enough to start ringing the alarm bells. That's probably pretty good. On the Real Eisman Playbook podcast on Saturday, Eisman discussed the credit quality issues and deterioration showcased in recent bank earnings reports last week. Quote, yes, there are signs of credit deterioration on the commercial side, but not enough to actually cause a recession or to indicate that a recession is about to occur. Bank earnings from JP Morgan, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo and others revealed mixed trends in commercial credit. Quote, there was some deterioration on the edges, but not enough to raise real alarm bells. Eisman pointed to non-accruals at JP Morgan rising 33% year over year and Citigroup up 119%, while banks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and PNC showed year over year declines. Contrasting today's environment with that leading up to the 2008 crisis, Eisman said, quote, the great financial crisis was different, end quote, noting that underwriting standards at the time had deteriorated to such an extent that, quote, people who should have never been given loans were swimming in them, end quote. And this is a big thing that I had discussed with both my parents and pretty much anyone that was connected to this after the global financial crisis. It really didn't matter what side you fell on. At the end of the day, it came out with there were people that could not honor these loans that had, in some cases, multiple loans, not even just on a primary residence, but also on a vacation residence and all of that. And that really kind of exacerbated that. We are getting very clear data that shows that's not the case this time around. So I know we've talked a lot about, well, this feels like the tech bubble or this feels like the last time. Very, very important to stay on top of some of those mechanics under the hood, if you will, and they do not appear to be the same, at least not right now. He concluded by saying, right now, I think we are in a normal cycle. While most of the big banks posted strong quarterly performances last week, there are growing concerns regarding the credit quality of the smaller regional banks. Utah headquartered Zion Bancorp reported 50 million charge-off during the third quarter related to its commercial and industrial loans, with losses amounting to $60 million. Got sliced by about 12% following that announcement. This was followed by Western Alliance Bancorp, ticker WAL, which dropped alongside Zion after revealing that it had filed a lawsuit against a borrower for fraud. JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon caused further unease when he warned of rising credit risks during the company's third quarter earnings call last week, saying, quote, when you see a cockroach, there's probably more, end quote. That's referring to the bankruptcies of Tricor Holdings, a subprime auto loan lender, and First Brands, an auto parts manufacturer. So we'll see. Again, we get Zion here today. We get some more of these regional banks here today. We'll see if there's any surprises. If any of you folks are trading that for either the tailwind of what we saw last week or maybe a new potential issue, I definitely want to hear about that as well. Next here, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway bets big on consumer brands amid economic shifts. I was really happy to see this. Because I was really happy to see this story, because one of the things that one of our veterans in Happy Hour mentioned multiple times last week was that he was rotating into what he admitted was a fairly boring trade, buying up some of these consumer brands that were incredibly beaten down. Campbell's Soup came to mind. Conagra Brands came to mind. This story is going to mention Constellation Brands, ticker STZ. So it does seem like there are folks maybe trying to rotate ahead of a possible downturn. That's kind of what I got from this. So when I saw this story, it kind of leapt off the page for me. Warren Buffett and his successor, Greg Abel, have been directing Berkshire Hathaway towards consumer-centric investments throughout 2025. The focus has been on brands that are heavily dependent on the health and prospects of consumers, as American shoppers have shown resilience in the post-pandemic era. Even as Buffett prepares to step down as CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, the company's investment decisions continue to mirror his economic wisdom. Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan recently pointed out that despite concerns about their cash reserves, consumers have continued to spend, and that is particularly true among the high end. This observation aligns with Berkshire's investment strategy, which has deviated from the AI stock frenzy in Wall Street and Silicon Valley, reported by Fortune. One of Berkshire's significant investments this year has been Lennar. That's a home builder, ticker LEN. It's one of the largest in the country. As per the outlet, despite a 28% drop in share price over the past year, Lennar now makes up a little over 3% of Berkshire's portfolio, with holdings valued at more than $886 million. Berkshire has also upped its stake in Chevron, ticker CVX, amid more stable gasoline prices in the U.S. markets. Additionally, the company has increased its investment in beverage producer Constellation Brands, ticker STZ, reflecting a focus in consumer-driven brands. The shift towards consumer-centric investments by Berkshire is a clear indication of the company's confidence and resilience of American consumers. Despite economic uncertainties, consumers have continued to spend, driving the success of these consumer-driven brands. This trend aligns with the investment strategy of Berkshire, which has been steering clear of the AI stock frenzy and focusing on brands that are heavily reliant on consumer health and prospects. So I would love to know if any of you folks are actually taking some of these. What are some of your favorite consumer brands, or perhaps even more defensive names as we go into 2026? Are you looking to maybe buy any of these stocks that have really been beaten down this year? These might be tax loss harvesting candidates. Maybe they get sold a little bit more going into year end. Really, I know it's not our main focus here, as we often focus on what's moving in the moment, but I'd be curious to know if any of you are positioning for some of these as well. Fatty Liver King here saying Amex and Visa. I honestly love that idea. I think the credit card companies are probably pretty good. I actually think there's a play in some of the payment processors there, especially as we go into the holiday season here, but that's a little bit down the road. Appreciate that. That's good, and I kind of think the same thing. Big B's saying that KDP, Keurig Dr. Pepper, is at the top of his list, and Eduardo saying that Pfizer is at the top of his list. Okay, so it does look like you folks are kind of thinking about that. That's absolutely fantastic. Next here, we will get our AI frenzy stock news. Of course, we're not just going to go without it, even if Warren Buffett will. NVIDIA's real bottleneck isn't chips, it's power. It comes from Beth Kindig, also comes from pretty much everyone in our chat, because y'all have been way ahead of these pros for a long time. We've been talking and looking at power stocks as it relates to AI for as long as I think we've been talking about AI. I feel like our group has been talking about the power component to it as well. So pat yourself on the back. But nonetheless, while the world is focused on the race for faster AI chips, the true bottleneck for the industry's explosive growth is rapidly becoming power, according to a leading tech analyst from IO Fund, Beth Kindig. On Sunday, Kindig reshared a snippet of an old interview with Wealthlion, which originally aired on August 29th, highlighting the immense energy demands of next-generation GPUs will drive, quote, at least 10x growth, end quote, for strategically chosen energy stocks, making the sector the next major AI investment frontier. So we've taken a look at CEG quite a bit. I know we've traded Bloom Energy, maybe more for some short-term trades than long-terms. Obviously, the uranium stocks, the rare earth stocks, any of these that kind of play into some of the other power angle of this whole thing. I think the easy money has been made in some of these nuke names like Oklo and so on and so forth, but I do think that there's going to be some more money to be made in maybe more of the traditional names as they become part of the power component for the rising AI and data center demand. I got a funny story about data centers coming up here too. Anyway, Beth highlighted that her firm began moving into AI networking nearly a year ago and is now in the early stages of moving into energy. The shift is being driven by big tech companies gobbling up whatever alternative power they can find to fuel their burgeoning AI infrastructure. The analyst pointed to NVIDIA's upcoming Blackwell platform as a critical inflection point. Quote, Blackwell is about 100 kilowatts more or less. It's breaking through 100 kilowatts, could be 140 kilowatts, end quote. She projected that by the end of the decade, GPU energy requirements would reach 1 megawatt, representing a staggering tenfold increase in power demand. This escalating need creates an urgent and compelling opportunity for investors in the energy sector. And for any of you that are interested in this, the clip before or the new clip that has come out, that is all contained within this article. That link is in the chat there for you. Kindig warned that without adequate power supply, quote, the extremely expensive systems, end quote, like multi-billion-dollar GPU racks would have to sit on the shelf stagnant. That's no good, especially since we're also talking about circular funding for a lot of this stuff. She emphasized that major tech players, which she dubs neoclouds, are thinking a year or two in advance, proactively securing power to avoid future bottlenecks. Chris here saying, Ryan, online banking still faces its challenges. So the online banking angle to this, one of the big areas that I think there's going to be money to be made in is ID and authentication and verification. That's where the whole ID AI play comes from. We might be a little bit early there, but I think there's going to be a lot of advancement and a lot of room in verification, authentication, and proper identification. So interested in some of those stocks as well, Chris. That's separate from power, but I think can be run on a parallel track. Getting back to the story here, looking further ahead, Kindig believes that NVIDIA's Rubin chip, anticipated in the next 1 or 2 years and projected to be 3 to 5 times more powerful than the current systems, could trigger, quote, serious problems, end quote, for the power grid. I know we've already been talking about the power grid, not just us as investors. Podcasters that are worried about national security and the whole lot, they're also thinking about this. I know there's a lot of work that has to go on with the power grid. This actually opens up a thing behind the thing trade as well. So not just some of these power companies, but also infrastructure and building companies that are going to bring some of the stuff online. This foresight, she suggests, easy for me to say, is why companies are accumulating power resources now, even as the broader energy sector is currently, quote, pretty beaten down, end quote, and out of favor with investors. The growing energy crisis in AI has prompted other tech visionaries to propose unconventional solutions. This is it. This is it right here. Real quickly, before I read this, I wanted to do a couple of these things. Day Trader here says the real story behind the big power needs of the primary power equipment. We're seeing 30 to 100 week lead times on transformers and other electrical equipment. Indeed, and this is kind of what I mean about the thing behind the thing trade. I think with some of those transformers, there's also a national security angle, as a lot of the big industrial scale ones were produced in China. There's been a lot of podcasts on how those really can kind of expose the power grid. But that as an aside, just putting that aside, Day Trader, I think you're spot on with this. He goes on to say, even control cable is 30 or 50 weeks out if you order today. We're talking about growth, expansion, and all of this, and it's not just power and it's not just GPUs. There's a lot of, this is what we call it, the thing behind the thing. Day Trader, you're doing a really good job uncovering some of those. Maybe we'll call them the picks and shovels angle of the AI or power trade. I think you're spot on there. SA3X says, yes, data centers all around me in good old Ohio. We would expect that to continue as well. Speaking of more data centers, this is my favorite part of the story. OpenAI and Samsung are reportedly collaborating on a floating data center in the ocean, aiming to leverage cold seawater for efficient cooling. Now, this just on the surface, like on paper, this sounds like a great idea, but a floating data center in the middle of the ocean, I mean, what could go wrong, right? Who am I? Who am I? What could go wrong with that? A process that can account for up to 40% of land-based data center power consumption. This maritime approach is estimated to cut total energy use by up to 70%. I think this is cool. SA3X, I'm with you. I think that this is cool. I'll tell you what. I'm not an engineer, and I am glad I am not the engineer tasked with figuring out how to run this safely and keep people's lives from being in danger. That seems to be a daunting task. Pretty awesome, though. Day Trader, this was one of my other thoughts here. I kind of just put it on the back burner because I'm not smart enough to figure out the answer. Day Trader says, I would think salt water would be hard on the equipment. Yeah, salt water probably doesn't mix all that well with electricity and electricity generation, let alone just straight up metal in the ocean. With you on that. Like I said, not smart enough to figure out all of the solutions to this, but it sure does sound cool. Floating, they're going to make a James Bond movie about a floating data center in the ocean. You watch. If they do this, there will be a Bond movie about it, and I am here for it. Meanwhile, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and venture capitalist Chamath Palihapitiya have even touted the concept of placing data centers in orbit. Scratch what I just said about James Bond movie. There will be two James Bond movies, one about the one in space and one about the data center in the ocean. The James Bond fan out there might say, well, Ryan, they already kind of did that with Moonraker. Maybe we get a Moonraker 2. I'm spitballing here. Anyway, data center in orbit to harness limitless solar power and the natural vacuum of space for cooling. That also sounds pretty brilliant. Feasibility of this? Yeah, I'm not too sure yet. Predicting these orbital facilities could become cost competitive within 2 decades. When Kindig suggests let me start that over. While Kindig suggests focusing on energy investments, the broader energy exchange traded funds have underperformed this year, while the nuclear ETFs have had a stellar performance. So again, this list in here, maybe you want to take a safer approach and play this via ETFs here. Again, the nuke one's already kind of run. Maybe there will be some more movement in that, but what we're really looking forward for here is underperformance so far. A list of them in here. Some of the traditional energy sector ETFs versus the nuclear energy ones. Okay, let's see. Where am I at here? 834. We are cruising for a bruising right here. Water and electricity rolling on the floor laughing. It's hurricane season, LOL. Oh, man. Like I said, Yeah, the problem is until you ruin everyone else's water supply and drive utilities through the roof for people who didn't choose it. That's obviously one of the big things there for data centers, which is why they're coming up with some of these creative solutions, like placing them in the middle of the ocean or in orbit. I some of these things I say, I have to like remind myself to try and say them with a straight face because they're trying to be serious. And it's like I grew up in a time where it's like the Death Star, like that was a big joke and all of that. Now you're talking about putting data centers in space, and it's like for real. Anyway, NVIDIA, Taiwan Semiconductor make the first U.S. built AI chip, and they're calling that a historic milestone. Gotta say, I agree. We've been talking about that Arizona fab for a while. Looks like it's starting to pull its weight here. NVIDIA and Taiwan Semiconductor are strengthening America's artificial intelligence manufacturing base with a significant new milestone, the production of NVIDIA's first Blackwell wafer on U.S. soil. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang visited Taiwan Semiconductor's fab facility in Phoenix, Arizona to celebrate the event, symbolizing the start of the volume production for the company's next-generation AI processors. Standing alongside Taiwan Semiconductor Vice President Y.L. Wang, Huang signed the inaugural wafer, marking what he described as a pivotal step for fortifying U.S. semiconductor supply chains. This is something that we've been discussing since we started talking about data centers, AI, and chips in general. Great to see this moving along. This is extremely important. Really quickly, I know we've kind of talked, we've spitballed, I would say, about potential China-Taiwan conflicts and all of this. The faster this fab gets up and running, the less sense it makes for China to invade Taiwan. I know I'm going down the rabbit hole a bit there, but just kind of keeping this front and center. Among its outputs are A16 processors and the sophisticated Blackwell wafers that will undergo intricate layering, etching, and patterning to become NVIDIA's high-performance AI chips. NVIDIA also plans to extend its technological ecosystems by integrating AI, robotics, and digital twin systems into U.S. manufacturing operations. Industry analysts view this as part of a broader push to localize advanced chip production and propel what many call America's next industrial revolution. Washington's trade and tariff policies have played a critical role in this shift. Tariffs imposed by the Trump administration on imported chips prompted Taiwan Semiconductor to scale back its Japan expansion plans and accelerate investment in the U.S. The company has pledged an additional $100 billion towards American manufacturing, supplementing the $65 billion that had been previously announced. The strategic pivot reflects mounting geopolitical pressure and a desire to secure access to the U.S. market while reinforcing relationships with key consumers, including NVIDIA and Apple. NVIDIA's progress with Blackwell architecture comes amid record-breaking growth. In October, the company became the first in history to reach a $4.5 trillion market cap, fueled by relentless demand for its AI-focused graphics processing units. Analysts see even greater potential ahead. In September of 2024, IO Fund's Beth Kindig projected NVIDIA could hit a $10 trillion evaluation, calling early 2025 a potential fireworks moment, end quote, as Blackwell production ramps up. JP Morgan analyst Harlan Sur noted that demand for Blackwell chips could outstrip supply well into mid-2025, further solidifying NVIDIA's dominance in the AI semiconductor race. So we've talked a lot about this. How long do we think this AI demand is going to go? Is it actually going to slow down? If it indeed does slow down, does that slowdown then ripple out to other parts of the market as things start to pull back? Feels like the market is propped up on AI stuff. Doesn't seem like this is going anywhere anytime soon. All right, what time is it? We still have time. 13's not around. I got two more news stories here, and then we will roll into some of those movers. I know y'all folks are looking for some of that there. Peter says Moonraker was the first James Bond movie I ever saw. I'm a huge fan of James. I'm a huge fan of James too. The first James Bond movie I ever saw was GoldenEye, and that opened up a floodgate. I realized, like, when I saw it as a kid, I didn't know much about James Bond. I saw this movie and I was like, this is one of the coolest things I ever saw. My dad's like, yeah, they have like 17 other James Bond movies. And I was like, what? Then I started watching them all and became addicted. So it is what it is. But I'm with you, Peter, there. Moonraker, one of my favorites. The laser fight at the end of the movie, it's funny now. But man, when I was a kid, I was like, this is so cool. Anyway, Alibaba, ticker BABA, has introduced a new compute pooling system called Agion. I think that's how you pronounce it. I can't believe I just screwed it up. Agion, which dramatically reduces the reliance on NVIDIA GPUs by 82% for AI models. This innovation was tested in Alibaba's cloud model marketplace over 3 months, according to a research paper presented this week at the 31st Symposium on Operating System Principles, or the SOSP, in Seoul, South Korea. The Agion system has successfully decreased the number of NVIDIA H20 GPUs required from 1,192 to just 213 for serving models with up to 72 billion parameters. Agion is the first work to reveal excessive costs associated with serving concurrent large language model workloads on the market. The researchers stated in the paper. Researchers from Peking University, I'm not sure, and Alibaba Cloud emphasized the high cost associated with serving concurrent large language model workloads. Alibaba Cloud, the AI and cloud services division of the Hangzhou-based Alibaba, aims to boost efficiency by pooling GPU resources, allowing a single GPU to support multiple models. The system addresses resource inefficiency, as previously 17.7% of GPUs were allocated to serve only 1.35% of requests in Alibaba's cloud marketplace. Cloud service providers like Alibaba Cloud and ByteDance's Volcano engine manage thousands of AI models simultaneously, often leading to inefficiencies. The Agion system seeks to optimize the process by reducing the numbers of GPUs needed. This development comes amid growing concerns over NVIDIA's presence in China. Recently, China raised security concerns about NVIDIA's H20 chips, especially regarding potential backdoor risks. LOL. As we said about that the last time as well. As part of its deal with NVIDIA, the Trump administration has struck an agreement for a 15% revenue share with the company's chip sales to China. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang stated that NVIDIA's market share in China has plummeted from 95% to zero. He expressed concerns over the impact of U.S. policies on NVIDIA's market presence in China. Despite these challenges, NVIDIA has financially insulated itself from potential escalations, as its guidance assumes zero revenue from China, and that's according to Jensen. And furthermore, if we take a look at the chart, here's where we're at with NVIDIA. So all of that gloom and doom stuff, and NVIDIA is what? Less than 2% from all-time highs? Where are we at here? Okay, I'm sorry. It's 6.5% from all-time highs. 6.5%. Really not a big deal. The amount of fear and pearl clutching over all of this stuff, really, really incredible. To me, it's great that we're seeing some of this pan out, not to be as bad as it was initially predicted. Okay, real quick here, last story. It is about robo-taxi. I know we've been following this quite a bit. We are, by the way, still trying to get Dan Ives on here. I know he's busy. He's got a vacation and some other traveling to do, but Zoltan's working hard. I definitely want to do that. Wedbush Securities investor and Tesla bull Dan Ives is optimistic about the approval of CEO Elon Musk's new pay package during next month's shareholder meeting ahead of the automaker's third quarter earnings call on Wednesday. The investor shared his thoughts in a post on the social media platform X on Sunday. Quote, a major focus on Tesla's call will be the robotaxi rollout across the U.S. and volume production trajectory for Cybercabs and Optimus in 2026. Are y'all ready to hear production goals on robots? I'll be honest, I am ready for that. I've kind of been excited for this. The more and more we talk about Optimus, the more and more excited I get for all of this. I can't wait for some of the investor questions and some of the conference calls, especially the ones where Elon gets a little snarky and a little pokey on those calls. Should be fun. The investor shared his thoughts in a post on the social media platform. He also expressed confidence about Musk's pay package receiving shareholder approval. Quote, we expect Musk's pay package and XAI stake to be approved, end quote. A merger of Tesla and Musk's artificial intelligence company XAI, or an investment into the company by the automaker, has been endorsed by past experts like Social Capital founder Chamath Palihapitiya, as well as Deepwater asset management investor Gene Munster. Tesla has been pushing towards artificial intelligence and robotics, as highlighted in the company's Master Plan 4, which laid down Tesla's roadmap for the coming years. Coinciding with the AI push, Musk predicted that Optimus humanoid robot would account for over 80% of Tesla's future value. Can't wait till this moves away from being a car company to a robot company. It's always been a technology company, depending on who you ask. Looks like it's arcing more and more towards that. In a video shared by influencer Sawyer Merritt on Sunday, we see the Tesla Cybercab up close in action for the first time since it was unveiled in October and spotted on multiple occasions. For any of you that care about this or want to watch the video itself, I won't force the group to watch the video, but I will throw the link to the article in the chat, or I'll try to. What on earth happened there? There we go. Nope, there we go. Sorry for the double post there, but if you want to take a look at that video, there you go. The Cybercab has been seen driving autonomously, with one of the units halting at a stop sign in the automaker's Gigafactory in Texas. Excuse me. The Cybercab also had the Tesla engineering prototype V001 written on the door panel. Future Fund LLC's managing director Gary Black predicted that Musk wouldn't answer questions regarding the removal of onboard safety operators from Tesla's robotaxis during the upcoming earnings call. Tesla currently provides robotaxis in Austin, as well as ride-hailing services in California. The company has also recently moved onboard safety operations in Austin to the driver's seat from the passenger seat, in a move likely to be the automaker's response to updated self-driving regulations in Texas. Meanwhile, investment firm Gerber Kawasaki's co-founder Ross Gerber suggested that Tesla should put a steering wheel in the Cybercab and sell it as a two-door affordable Tesla model instead of the standard trimmed-down variants of the Model Y and Model 3 as the affordable options in the lineup. Let me know what you think about Ross's suggestion there. Hadn't thought about that. Looking at some of the proprietary rankings here for Tesla, really, really impressive. I see why folks love trading the stock. 90 plus momentum ranking, 75 plus growth ranking, and a 67 plus quality ranking. Intact, short, medium, and long-term trend. I mean, giddy up. This thing is an absolute monster. I think we see some more of that. You know what we should do? Should actually take a look at Tesla's chart here ahead of the open. I'd love to hear if any of you have some on this. Billy here mentioning SPY's above the VWAP. SPY actually looks like it's going to try to trade up here. Same with the futures going into the open here. When we take a look at Tesla, you actually have something similar on the daily chart. This thing's done a really good job consolidating around its 20-day. It's also done a really good job holding the support level, or the sideways channel that we had carved out. That was 417, give or take, to 430 and a half, give or take. Does look like we're trying to trade above this here. I have that next near-term high here, 471 and change. Looks like Tesla might be going to that. Then 487 and a half, the next high after that for Tesla. That would be your all-time high right there. So this Tesla daily chart actually looks pretty good. If we take a look at the intraday chart, does look like we're getting some resistance right up here, 445 and a half. See if we end up taking that out. Looks stronger here in the pre-market ahead of the open. And like Billy was saying earlier regarding the SPY being above its VWAP, here you go. SPY going for that 667.34 breakout level literally as we speak. This does look like it's going to try and trade up into the pre-market. Okay, let me see. No 13 yet. Let me check. Oh, 13 having trouble loading. Okay, well, we've confirmed that 13 is out of bed. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, but still having trouble to join. So, producer or Aaron, let me see if I can get some help here. I can't do it all. Okay, and we'll have some of our tech guys get working on 13 here, and we'll go ahead and bring him on. I might just have to start with some of the movers without him. All right, let me go ahead and start. Let me actually follow up on some of the comments here. Brian, taking a look at REPL, that's the top mover here. LAES got news. You guys were mentioning CLF, so I know I took a look at that off screen. We'll take a quick look at that here before we go into some of the movers here. Here's what CLF did. Remember, they reported earnings here this morning. And I was trying to give you some of the numbers there earlier. It looks like the 45-cent loss beat the 48-cent loss estimate. Sales actually missed. So this is interesting. This is a mixed report here. Beat on EPS, miss on sales, but the stock's up by 8.5% here in the pre-market. Cleveland Cliffs are trading higher here. The company also cut its full year 25 CapEx outlook. Good morning, Parvez. Nice to see you. EKS. Good morning, Zach. Good to see you here this morning as well. And there's a poll up there, so please vote in our poll. Okay, let's take a look at the movers. I guess I'm just going to have to start this without 13. We'll just go ahead and start it without him, and then we'll bring him in when we get him on. 13 is busy filling his coffee mug. It takes about 15 minutes. He does have a huge coffee mug. Good morning, Daniel. Good to see you again here as well. Okay. I think we cleared up all of that. Okay. And then Fatty Liver King, you were asking about really quickly, how do we feel about buying into BABA? So this is an interesting question here. So I'm someone that I generally do not interested at all in Chinese stocks. To me, there's just much easier ways to actually make this money. Never had good luck with Chinese stocks. But to answer your question here, I actually think there might be, as these relations these trade negotiations are not going to continue indefinitely. There's definitely going to be a resolution at some point, I think sooner rather than later. And when we get that resolution, I think it'll actually make for a positive trade in some of these names. But I really think that you have to stick with the bigger ones. So in your question, you had asked about BABA. That's one of them. BABA, PDD, Baidu, these three, I think, in particular, maybe you want to throw NEO in there, I don't know. But I think some of the bigger China names are probably going to be okay. Maybe some of the ETFs like Yin on that one. Yin's the bull one, right? The levered bull one. Make sure I get that. Yeah, Yin is the 3X levered bull one. That also might be safe. I think there is a trade here on all of that. But again, I would really kind of stick with some of the bigger names. I still think you're at a pretty major risk on some of the smaller ones, to be quite honest with you. Okay. Empyrean saying BABA and like Huawei are the only Chinese stocks I would ever think about trading. That's what I mean. And you can probably get away with some of the bigger names there, but those smaller names, they might have their own host of risks. That's for sure. Okay. Let's go ahead and break down the movers here. We'll go ahead and get started. And like I said, I will get 13 as soon as he's ready. We'll get him in here. I know he's probably looked into a bunch of these. First one here that I'm sure you all are looking at is going to be REPL. This is Replimune Group. This is indeed ripping higher here. The FDA accepts Replimune's resubmission of its biologics license for application for RP1 in combination with nivolumab for advanced melanoma. The PDUFA date is April 10th of 2026. So that's going to be another key date coming up here. If you trade REPL, definitely want to make a note. If you're a Benzinga Pro user, you actually might want to use the notes feature. I don't talk about it often, but we might as well here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and click notes and write that the PDUFA date is April 10, 2026. That way, when I completely forget about this and then I come back to it, that will be ready for me. We'll be able to take a look at that. Nonetheless, here, taking a look at REPL, you can see what a move that we've made here. Stock is actually up more than this now. Looks like I've got a little bit of delay there. Stock up 108%. Let's take a quick look around the horn on this one. Oh my. 43.04% of the float shorted. Absolutely have a short squeeze candidate here. Only 2.68 days to cover. Let's see how it shakes out here today. That days to cover comes on a 100-day average of 9.8 million shares. Today, we've traded 14.5 million shares. The float on this one, a little bit more, a little bit heavier. at 41.5 million on this. There actually is some analyst coverage on this. Let me take a look at that, because a lot of these movers that we get, we actually don't have analyst coverage. Looks like JP Morgan recently downgraded this in September. Looks like HC Wainwright had a neutral rating. Boy, they reiterated a neutral. HC Wainwright generally really, really bullish. That's interesting. Cantor had a overweight rating back in July. This kind of slowed down, though. I'd be curious to see if we get anything to kind of follow along on the tail of this. Nonetheless, moving here, pretty sizable move. Just don't get hung up on this one. The float on this one much thicker than some of our others, so not going to move like some of the other bio names that we often see that can sometimes turn into home runs and all of that. REPL. Let's take a look at the chart and see what we can do for levels here. Looks like this did just trade into a previous supply zone here. I would also imagine that our resistance is probably going to be up here, 10 3/4, so 10.75. Likely to be some pretty significant resistance here if this keeps going. Looks like we're really struggling to break 950 as we speak. In fact, if I look at the level 2 here, there's some size there, but maybe it's hidden. Nonetheless, 950, 1075, probably your next levels based right off the chart here. And let's see, do we, you know what? Looks like we also have a trend line forming here. I'm actually going to draw it right through this. So that gives us another upside target about 11.5. So I've got 950, 1075, 11.5 as your next upside areas here on our EPL. And as we were speaking, we actually just punched right through that 950 there. So let's see what happens here with the volume. I've got VWAP on this at 828. So maybe it will come back a little bit here. We'll see. Conditionally accepted, 14.5 or 20M, showing 23. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I have session volume here of 14.5. I think that's what you're asking about. Let me see here what I have on our EPL. Let me see if my broker has something different. Is that what you're saying? October 20th. What do we got here for our EPL? Yeah, so this is not measuring the daily volume in my broker. Anyway, that's what I have here. You're saying that you see it as 23 million. Perhaps my volume hasn't updated properly yet. Our EPL, while we're talking here, this thing continues to run higher. 970 now. Hang on. Let me actually ping about this real quick. Sorry about the dead air here. But we're having all kinds of tech issues here this morning. Okay, our EPL, we did go through 950 there. I like that 1150 target. Okay, so you're saying that the volume, so you're showing over 20 million shares. That might be right, because it looks like my details banner not updating here. You're probably right. So it looks like 20 million plus on the volume here today. This looks like this is rolling higher, but at least we've got some more upside targets on this. At least we got some more upside targets on this. Okay, next is going to be CELC. This is Celcuity. Celcuity shares are trading higher after the company presented phase 1 data at the ESMO 2025, showing its one of its drugs here, a combination of its drugs here. Sorry, I'm not going to do it. Combination delivered a 9.1 month medium RPFS in MCRPC with a favorable safety profile and no treatment related discontinuations. Okay, so Fatty, I would think that you probably have to give me some help with what some of these things mean here. But it looks like we're definitely getting some good news here. Stock did rip pretty good. Man, oh man, this thing must be incredibly thin. Let me take a look at this. It's really not. 37.7 million. So thin, but not ridiculous. This thing was $50 last week. It's 79 in the pre-market. And yeah, this does not look like a misprint. 116, your pre-market high here, CELC. Let me see if I get the same thing here in my broker. Yeah, 116.68. there was volume, just not a whole lot here. So this is pretty much back at VWAP. This is actually at a pretty decent spot to trade. We'll see if we get a good chart formation on this. Would love to see some expanding volume take us away from the VWAP here, and then maybe move us to some of these higher targets here. Obviously, the round 100 number. Let's take a look at the daily chart, see what else we can get here. We're still above that recent high. Let's see if we've got anything else here on a weekly. Well, we are in some blue sky territory here, CELC. See if we get some more move going higher here. Fatty Liver King says, I have no idea what those acronyms are. Yeah, me either. It's tough. Trying to figure out all of this stuff in real time. Not the easiest thing ever, that's for sure. Okay. Boy, we are still having some tech issues with 13. What on earth is going on here? That is crazy. I hope he makes it. Our PFS is basically a metric that shows survival without progression of prostate cancer, which the drug treats. Okay, that's really awesome stuff there. So 9.1 month median in a favorable safety profile. So this is really good news then, right, Fatty? I mean, it seems to me like this is definitely positive news. Maybe we'll see some more trading here, CELC. The one thing that I will say here for those that are trying to trade this thing is spread ridiculous. This is actually spread multiple dollars here in the pre-market. Maybe that tightens up a little bit. Be careful with this, though. Just based on the spread, be careful with this. Okay, next one here is going to be Wrapped Therapeutics. I'm pretty sure that we've taken a look at this one before. Wrapped Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company in Shanghai JU announced top-line data from JU's phase 2 trial of RPT-904 as a monotherapy in chronic spontaneous ulceraria. Urticaria? Sorry, man. Medical treatment, not my profession. Can't really read these drug names or anything like that. Nonetheless, this stock was about $29 on Friday. It traded a high of 60 here in the pre-market, really coming back in. Massively beneath the VWAP. Got to imagine that this stock is also pretty crazy spread here. Yeah, this one also spread at least $1 here in the pre-market. We'll see if that tightens up at all. Here's a look at the daily chart. So it does look like we have some previous levels for this one. Boy, pretty huge supply zone up here in the 60s. I'll tell you what, if this thing stays crazy, this could very easily go back to a 60 handle. We already tested 60 here in the pre-market on some pretty good volume here today. If that picks up again, this supply zone absolutely could be a previous area for that. Let me see if this thing has done any splits or anything. Yes, earlier this year we had a 1-for-8 split, 1-for-8 reverse stock split. So that's where we're getting some of those prices from. Okay, that's good to know. Looking at the short interest here, 3.66% of the float shorted with 1.5 days to cover. Not a whole lot here. Float on this 13.6 million. This one a lot thinner than the last one that we looked at, REPL. This one could get wild. We'll see. I would just really be careful with this. I guess maybe it tightened up briefly there. Yeah, tightened up briefly there. We'll see if that sticks around. In any case, I would say that this still looking for a move above 60 on this one. 66 looks to be that area where we'll probably find some resistance. Yeah, mid 60 handle. That is RAPT, Wrapped Therapeutics. All right, next here, everyone's favorite, the fake meat. The fake meat, Beyond Meat here. This was back to penny territory. Looks like it popped here this morning, and it's doing its absolute best. Now it's doing its absolute best to try and hold on to dollar territory here. It's actually being supported by the 65 EMA at the moment. Beyond Meat, which was reported on October 16th, so that was Thursday of last week. Beyond Meat announces a release at 5 p.m. New York time of a lockup of restrictions on shares that were exchanged for existing convertible notes in its exchange offer. Okay. Didn't follow all of that. Let me see if there was anything else in here. Maybe there was something in the press release here, but So they're going to sell basically 38% or 37.5% of the newly issued shares when this is done. Okay. Okay. So here we go. So they're basically doing a debt swap to avoid bankruptcy. There's still tons of dilution in here. Trade this one at your own risk. This thing is as dangerous as can be. 54% of the float shorted with 4.4 days to cover. So we'll see. Float on this 73 million. On average, stock trades 19 million shares. Today it's traded 100 million. It's got terrible analyst coverage. Holy smokes. To me, I'll be honest with you folks. I'm going to avoid Beyond Meat here. Good luck if you trade this. It's got kind of a formation here in the pre-market. Maybe it breaks that trend line and goes for the highs. I got to think we're going to have some better opportunities around there. Sorry, I know we're having some tech issues here with my co-host, so I'm riding solo. I have got to blow my nose. I apologize. Okay, sorry about that. All right, next here we did CELC, RDHL. This is Red Hill Biopharma. Ooh, looks like this is moving right now on some news. Red Hill shares are trading higher after Cumberland Pharmaceuticals invested $4 million for a 30% ownership stake of its global Talika business. Or Talisha, maybe. Nonetheless, this is happening right now. Impulse move happening right now. Stock ripped off the 155 handle. Things up a full $1.10 right now. Let me see if there was anything else new in that. Announces the addition of an established FDA-approved product to its commercial portfolio. So it looks like it's just buying this business and then adding it right to their portfolio. That's driving RDHL higher here. Short interest on this name. Now, this is interesting. As of the recent filing here, this thing jumped up a ton, went from 1.23% to 22.74% of the float shorted. Still 1 day to cover. Your average 100-day volume on this 1.36. I'm not getting a volume reading, so clearly something wrong with my volume reading here. All right. So this is popping as well. I would wait for this impulse move to settle here. I've got VWAP at 213. We'll see if it comes back down to this area here. Okay, yeah, bigger fish to fry than Beyond Meat. I'm with you on that one. We're saying $4 million strategic investment here for RDHL. This one I actually like a little bit more, but I'd really like for this to carve out some type of support area first. All right. I'll just keep rolling down the list here. How much time do we have? 23 minutes till we open. So we already looked at CELC. Here's SUGP. This looks like kind of a bummer. Boy, I tell you what, we traded. I was going to say, I think we traded this one last week. Look at the action that SUGP gives. If you have this, I think it just makes sense to sell into the spike. Otherwise, probably don't want to go after this. There's better. There's better trades on this one. This, to me, I'm just going to avoid this here today. I don't think we had any news on this, but let's see. Yeah, nothing fresh here. Okay, FGI. What did we have here on FGI? It looks like this popped in the after hours and again here in the pre-market and has been bleeding back. Oh, yeah, we had an Amazon Web Services outage earlier. I wonder if that's what's affecting 13. Interesting. Actually, now that I'm thinking about that, just kind of spitballing here, let me take a look at Amazon on its own. It was lower earlier, but looks like it's up now. Okay, sorry, I got to blow my nose one more time. Okay. All right, let me keep rolling through these. Ranny, this is one from last week. Looks like we have some more news here today. Ranny Therapeutics holding shares are trading higher after the company on Friday announced a collaboration and license agreement with Chugai Pharmaceuticals for the development and commercialization of its oral product. The company announced an oversubscribed 60.3 private million placement. Okay. Okay, so we had a huge move in this actually did the thing. I know we were talking about this on the show on Friday. It ended up ripping to some of those spots that we had talked about. So that's really awesome. It's actually done a pretty good job holding higher here. Now it's beneath its VWAP here today. So, and the other thing here is that the volume that we're getting here today is dwarfed by what we saw both in the regular session and in the pre-market on Friday. So I would really like to see this trade with some more volume and get above its VWAP. I don't know. It's got to show us that it can do both of those things here. Otherwise, this one's still kind of a no touch for me, at least in the meantime. 0.39% of the float shorted here with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 8.08 million shares. Today, it's traded 34.6 million shares. Float on this one, 38.46 million. So maybe this goes here today. This did pretty well on Friday. We'll see if it goes again here today. Let's see if we've got any more levels here from the daily chart. So we're currently looking at 206 here in the pre-market. Okay, so this is actually right at a previous support that should now be resistance. So boy, we're right at some resistance now. I think our next spot here, probably 267. And I don't know what's going to happen in the middle here because it actually looks like there was quite a bit of trading here. 267, your next key area there. And then after that, I'm thinking 3. Yep. And then probably 350 to 360. So 267, 3, and then 350 to 360, your next upside areas here on Ranny. Maybe the chart has actually bottomed down here in 39 cents. Do we have any other news that might be playing into this? Let me see real quick. No? Okay. All right, let's see if Ranny gets rolling here today. DVLT Data Vault. This is another one that looks like it's moving here in the pre-market. This was one from last week as well. Data Vault right up here, 220. Data Vault AI shares trading higher after the company announced a partnership with Max International to tokenize real-world assets in Switzerland. All right, we'll see if we get that here. DVLT, it does look like the bottom here. 160 was a pretty decent bottom on DVLT. Let's see what we have for short interest on this. 27.14% of the float shorted here with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 49 million. Today, it's done 1.3 million. Float on this is 165 million. So this one, much thicker. Kathy, were you trading this one last week? What do you think on this? Maybe another move to 240 here. That actually looks to be the next resistance area. Let's see what else we can get off this 15-minute chart. Look at this trend line. Look at this pretty clean trend line that we're breaking here this morning. Okay, 250, 279, and 3. Your next upside spots here on DVLT. Oh, there's 13. The issues that, so you just can't get into Restream? That's all this is? I'm out here by myself? Ugh. Gotta blow my nose again. Okay, looks like I'm going solo here today. 13, I hope you got those fingers ready to type. Hope you got those fingers ready to type. And sorry just in advance about some of the dead air here. Folks, I can't just talk consistently for 3 or 4 straight hours. I just can't do it. I'll do the best I can, but I'm going to need to breathe and drink a little bit, it seems. Can we bring Cleo on? We can't. Cleo's in the other room, and Cleo is busy. I'll tell you what, he had a wild weekend with all the bird activity that was out here. And Buddy's actually waiting to ambush him, sleeping in the box right next to him. Okay. All right. So low it is. So low it is. Let's take a look here. Let's see how CLF finished up. So that actually still kept pushing higher. This actually took another, yeah, this sure did. So when we first taken a look at CLF here, this is actually taking another leg higher there. We'll see on CLF. I have no trade on that one, but we'll see. ABAT, this is another one of those battery tech plays. This was a huge winner. Boy, this thing really retraced. You know what? I almost wonder we could probably draw a pretty good fib retracement on this. No, let's try that. Let's see what we get. Trend-based fib extension. We're going to go from here to here to here. All right, so here's the levels that I've got here for ABAT. So let's see what it looks like inside. Okay, so we're currently sitting here at about 588 here. This should be pretty good. I got 692 as the next level. That actually coincides with the supply zone and the round number. That's pretty good. 826, this actually looks like a previous low. That looks pretty good too. And then this other level here, boy, these fibs look really awesome. 935, another level here for ABAT, and then 1045. I'll tell you what, and then 12. These levels here, these fib levels look pretty good for ABAT. I'm going to leave this one on the chart. We'll see if this comes into play here today. Okay, that's ABAT. Sorry, let me mute this while they're figuring this out. All right, next here, Amy. This is the antimony. Boy, we might need to do something similar on this one, huh? I am going to do that. I'm going to do the same trend-based fib extension on this, right up to this high, and then to this low. There we go. So here are some levels here for you, Amy. Where are we at here? Oh, man, that looks crispy. So this next one here, right at 14 about. I've actually got it at 1390, but we might as well call it 14 there. United States antimony shares are trading higher after William Blair initiated coverage on the stock with an outperform rating. So, okay, big, huge run. This was what? The week prior. So the week before last, this thing had a huge run up. Last week, it spent most of the week pulling back. What do you think, group? You think the bottom is in here? I tend to think that maybe this is going to be tradable here this week. I think we probably put a bottom in there about 10 and a half. Currently at 13. 14 looks to be the next level. Let's see what the short interest looks like here. 13.24% with 1.51 days to cover. It's only traded 500,000 shares here today. Super high float on this one, so be careful. But for a possible swing trade here, yeah, maybe we get something here on you, Amy. Okay. We're here with you. Thank you, Chester. I'm going to do the best job that I can. That's for sure. Cam saying, Ryan, you were mentioning earlier about Transformers being the thing behind the thing. Any companies of interest? No, what the mention came from is that the Transformers, a lot of like the big industrial style Transformers were actually manufactured in China or had a lot of components manufactured in China. And as a result, those pose a potential national security threat. As far as companies that make those here stateside, that would be more appealing. I don't have a list of those. That would be an interesting trade, though. So that whole thought process, I think, is pretty good. I don't have any companies that I'm looking at the moment, though. All right, that does it pretty much with the movers here. Wedbush just got a price target raise from 4 to 18. Or REPL from Wedbush? Yes, it did. Wow. REPL, this might be one of the good ones on the deck here today. Wedbush giving it an $18 price target. That might juice it here. Currently $9.14 in the pre-market, $9.75 your pre-market high. And I've got VWAP there, $8.46. So we'll see if that ends up giving some type of support to it. LAES. Let's take a look at that because that was actually a recent trade for us. LAES shares are trading higher after the company unveiled its Quantum Shield QS7001 chip with launch plan for mid-November. So this conference was going on in New York, right? Is this still going on? No, this just the PR just came out here today. It doesn't give me the date in there. Okay, can't tell if that is still going on here. It does have some pretty good news on this, and we are popping here. What does the volume look like? You know what though? I don't actually trust my volume number here because we were having some type of data issue earlier. Let's take a look at the short interest on this. 14.72% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover, so it still actually has some short interest in there. We'll see if this gets rolling. Here's what the chart looks like. So right away here, $8 definitely going to be your next resistance area here. Obviously, we've got a pre-market high that we put in here, 770, but realistically, I think there's a little bit thicker resistance up there at 8. Looks like 850 after that. Let's go to a 15-minute chart and see what else. Yeah, that's that same 850 level. This has been on a pretty good move here. We're also going to have this trend line that we want to draw on here. We'll see if we end up breaking that. That's up also at about 850-ish up there. So, okay, Izzy, for a trade here, would love to see some more volume in this. This does seem like good news here. The chart actually does not look terrible. Looks like maybe a bottom is in, and it would move back towards this trend line. I think I've got this at, 861 here for today. But I really think we're going to need to see some volume, right? Like even when we saw a volume pop here before, a stock really pulled back. We want to see this type of volume. Just lots and lots of stacked, expanding buying volume. That actually could make for a pretty decent trade here, LAES. Let's see, what else do we have here? Promising rare earth minerals. Good morning, Trout Bum. Good morning, Lion. Good morning, Ruby and Ryan. NUAI. Didn't we take a look at that already? Is that moving again? NUAI. This is Next Era Energy and Digital. So this actually had a pretty good week last week. Looks like this is trying to go again. First area here, obviously pre-market high, 575. Pre-market high here of 575. Looking at the short interest on this. Uh-oh. Now I'm having a data issue. Nope. There we go. It's just a head fake there. 4.62% of the float shorted on this name with 1 day to cover. That comes on the average 100-day volume of 29.5 million. I actually think we've traded a lot more than this here today. Boy, these, yeah, definitely have all types of messed up numbers. All types of messed up numbers here. Let me actually report this real quick. Give me 1 sec here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry there's dead air. I'm sorry that it's lagging. Doing the best I can here, flying solo. Okay. Sorry about that again. NUAI looks like 550 needs to be the next area, 550, and then that 576 pre-market high. You guys are saying Archer had news. We could take a look at that. ACHR. Archer Aviation shares are trading higher after the company announced an agreement with Korean Air to commercialize its Midnight eVTOL in Korea, with Korean Air planning to purchase up to 100 aircraft. Well, gosh, Izzy, that sounds really great, doesn't it? Is that 13? What is going on? 13.
Okay.
Okay. You guys are trying to like... Producer, I give you props for trying. Man, that screwed it up. We are being scrappy. Yeah, you are. And I'm the one left to pick up the pieces. At least it's funny. Okay, we're trying to get a backwards method of getting 13 in here. I don't know if we're going to be successful, but we're going to keep trying. That's for sure. Is that an AI 13? Maybe it is. Maybe it is an AI 13. At least they're trying. At least they're trying something. I can't believe this. Okay. Anyway, let me try to get back. There's a lot going on here. I'm sorry for being so distracted. Izzy, this news here for Archer, this actually seems pretty good. 100 aircraft. I wonder what the timeline for buying that aircraft is. And what the hell are they going to do with this? Korean Air's next generation of air mobility. Yeah, so here we go. Archer's Midnight is a piloted aircraft designed to carry 4 passengers and perform rapid back-to-back trips with minimal charge time between flights. Midnight has the potential to replace 60 to 90-minute commutes by car with a 10 to 20-minute electric air taxi flights that are safe, sustainable, low noise, and cost competitive with ground transportation. Okay, so it really looks like the whole goal, or at least South Korea's their goal of using this is to cut down like real short flights to the airport from an hour and a half to 20 minutes. That would actually be awesome, honestly. Izzy, I think I tend to agree with you here on this. I'll be honest, the more and more that we find out about what the plans are here and what they're actually doing, I tend to think that you're right with this comment right here. I think Archer is a long-term hold on adding on every dip. The adding on every dip, that's going to be investor specific based on your risk. I can't speak to that, but I think that you're right here. This is the trade here is probably for a long-term hold on this. So I would wait for areas of weakness and maybe add this at support. That would be that'd be how I play this. This sounds really good. I if this takes off, I could see this being a huge hit in Chicago, New York. Like flying from for those of you that have never been to Chicago, like O'Hare Airport, it's far away from the city. It has to be. But you can't have planes flying around buildings, has to be. But the traffic from the airport downtown is horrific. Like especially on days where there's a lot going on, it's like even worse than bad. And I feel like the market for these types of things would be crazy. New York, Chicago, obviously, Korea. So I think as far as like a long term here, I think you're onto something, Izzy. This is something I will look some more into. My big problem with this is how long is this timeline? Like when we talk long term, are we talking 5 years, or are we talking more like 10 to 15 years before regulation, all of this stuff? Nonetheless, though, this is a really crazy idea. Archer's the way. I think Archer, someone asked last week which they thought was better, Archer or Joby. For me personally, it feels like Archer, but that's an uneducated opinion, to be quite honest with you. Okay, Ryan is one of the most humble and patient people I've ever been around online. Well, online, that bar is pretty low. Smoke tuna, but I will take that. I will take that. That's a nice thing to say. All right. I think Joby is already doing something in Chicago O'Hare. That, you know what? I'll have to look into that. Obviously, I don't know what they're doing there. What's the story with GSIT? We've got a couple of minutes before we open. Let me pull that up and see if I can figure out what's going on with GSIT. Good mention. Good mention here, Gary. This thing is ripping, and this looks like this is on news, isn't it? Yes. GSIT to announce second quarter 2026 results on October 30th. Okay, earnings 10 days from now. Compute in-memory APU achieves GPU class AI performance at a fraction of the energy cost. Okay, so GSIT's getting a PR here about AI compute at a lower cost. This was something that we just talked about with some of the Chinese data centers as well. GPU class performance, the Gemini 1 APU delivered comparable throughput to NVIDIA's A6000 GPU or RAG workloads. The APU delivers over 98% lower energy consumption than a GPU over various large corporate data sets, underscoring efficiency and sustainability. Tell you what, this PR reads amazing. That's what's going on here with GSIT. New compute benchmark that has a lower power draw on it. The APU's unique design will allow for it to perform retrieval tasks several times faster than standard CPUs, shortening total processing time by up to 80%. Holy cow. Well, okay, so that's why this stock is popping. This was a really good mention. So it looks like we went to what, 8? Now we're backing off that. Let's see what we have from the chart here. Boy, we went right through that recent high at about $6. 8 does look like a previous resistance area. Honorable mention up there at 10, but it actually looked like, where did this go to? This went to what? 946. So 946 going to be that level. I'll tell you what, after watching some of these recent moves higher, I suspect that this stock is going to pull back. Maybe we get a bounce play on this. I would not chase this move up here, but that news is actually pretty good. That feels like that's some pretty substantial news. Okay, we got less than a minute till the opening bell. Let me get my main workspace up. I hope everything is working. See if there's an update on 13. There's no update on 13. Okay, we're open. Let me blow my nose again here real quick. Oh, okay. We are open. Let's see what we got. Boy, I've got, looks like stuff's not working here. Geez, can I catch a break here today? It's supposed to be a Victory Monday. This is supposed to be an easier day. I got stuff not working, and 13 can't log in, and heaven's sakes. All right, let's see if Ranny can get through its VWAP right there. REPL looks like that pulled off the open. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, REPL, that pulled off the open. Tell you what, for REPL here, I'd love for this to back test the VWAP. I've got VWAP here 844, and my broker, I've got it at 850. Let's pull back to VWAP or right there, and then maybe turn around. And I think we might have a tradable setup here, REPL. GSIT, be careful. They pumped the same thing 2 years ago. You know what, Jay? Just looking at the chart told me that GSIT probably is one that we needed to be a little bit more careful on. Wait for this one to pull back. Don't chase this one. This looks like it's halted to the upside here. Yeah, indeed, it is halted to the upside. Boy, 35 seconds out of the open, this thing halted. Careful with this one, though. Careful with this one. Let's see what else we got here. Tesla looks like that popped and went higher. Apple 258. So that was the other piece of news that I didn't really talk about yet here today. How about that? There was so much doom and gloom for Apple and all of that. Sounds like the iPhone 17 is actually selling pretty well. Had some initial checks here. Loop Capital upgrading Apple to buy 315 price target. Where was that? Apple iPhone 7 outsells iPhone 16 in early China US sales. That was from Reuters. And I told you a couple of weeks ago that I thought if the sales in China were going to be stronger than anticipated, and then what some of that gloom and doom is going to be, Apple is a buy, and that's moving higher here. Here we go. 260 going to be your next spot here on Apple, I suspect. Boy, are we going to have a new all-time high break here on deck for Apple? Giddy up. Let's go. Let's go. REPL still pulling back here a little bit. That was a good idea to wait. We'll see if it builds up the strength to move through those highs. NVIDIA, or Jay, you're not kidding. Market actually ripping to the highs here. SPY and NASDAQ trading higher. You're saying NVIDIA's not going with it? Let me take a look here. But we got all types of stuff messed up. Today, we're just out in the minefield. Here's PayPal. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. I don't know how much trading I'm going to be able to do today with managing all of these little things. Jay, you're right. That is notable here. NASDAQ screaming higher and NVIDIA just moving the opposite direction. All right, let's see. But why we got... Hang on, let me post this here real quick. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see what else we got here. I know Ondas was higher and pulling back. That is a bummer. Definitely didn't want to see that. We'll see what happens. Rocket pulling back a little bit. Rigetti continuing its pullback. Who's still trading Rigetti? Either short with some of those ETFs or otherwise. Who's still trading Rigetti here? Now watch, if this thing breaks that 43, we're going to go much, much lower here. Netflix screaming higher ahead of its earnings here. I'm actually seeing some Netflix calls get bought there as well. Look at this move here on Netflix. Anyone trading this for earnings tomorrow after market? Rich saying anyone else's Webull not working great. Brian says anyone on Webull having issues with the platform. Okay, so it looks like that Amazon Web Services outage probably spreading to other stuff. Rich saying, yeah, Webull is jacked up. Okay, so Webull obviously having some issue here. And REPL, did that go, Jacob? Sure did. Sure did. Boy, that was teasing a move back to the VWAP. Never got it. New highs now. I didn't hit that one. Good mention, though, Jacob. Hopefully you hit that. Webull is absolutely lagging terribly. Okay, be careful if you're trading on Webull, then it sounds like. IMPP, that was also halted here. Here, it looks like GSIT resumed. This went higher. Looks like it stopped at about 9. Here's your IMPP. This is another, this is an oil name, isn't it? This halted here, 490 at the highs. Linda, you got a problem with Webull? Okay, Webull does not look trustworthy right now. Robinhood is running slow per Honest Car Reviews. So I'll say this. So Thinkorswim, my broker, appears to be okay, but I've made no orders yet today. So I don't want to say that for sure. VIX continuing to roll over here. That's good to see. Yeah, I haven't made any orders yet, but everything appears to be working on my end here on Thinkorswim. IBKR is working. Brim for breakfast thinks China is hacking us. I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, okay. So Robinhood is also not loading. Snapchat is having problems. My FanDuel was having problems logging into that. Okay. Cam, tinfoil hat. I like this tinfoil hat theory. 13, the one day he doesn't show up here and all the brokers are buzzy, maybe 13 is diving into something. You never know. You never know. NVTS day trader. Let's see where that opened at here. NVTS. Wow, that was a huge pop. So they actually report earnings in a couple of weeks here. Navitas Semiconductors. Was this above where we gapped down from? Let's see. I'm having trouble loading historical candles here as well. Oh, man, we're having all kinds of technology issues. Well, this is a day I should have just stayed in bed. I should have just, AI Rod says 13 is guilty. I agree. I should have just stayed in bed here today instead of fighting this whole thing. Nope, I'm sick today. Can't make it in. Speaking of sick, Beyond Meat here, this lost $1. Looks like it's trying to recapture it. I don't know if I trust that. AXTI is moving. Thank you, Tuna. By the way, REPL, that pulled off the 991 high there. Couldn't quite get above 10. Here's your AXTI. This thing did move through 5. Did we have news on this one? Marcus, slow down here. We may be getting hacked. Maybe World War III is us. Probably not, but maybe. No news here on AXTI. You can always go back and start the day over. Michelle, as soon as the show ends, that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to go work out and then pretend that the day is being started over. And I'm just going to pretend it's another day of football since we've got a couple of games on tonight. Yeah, and Johnny, my Thinkorswim appears to be running okay. Again, I haven't placed any orders yet, though. So that really is where the rubber meets the road. REPL, by the way, pulling back. Still think we have a VWAP test coming with that. Ryan, check out the news on Amazon Web Services. Fair Chat, it impacts some of those stock services. At this point, I'm going to blame Amazon for every tech problem that we see here today. Whether it's our tech problem, broker's tech problem, 13's tech problem, it doesn't matter. It's the fault of Amazon. Speaking of which, Amazon, the stock, this actually looking like it's trying to go higher here, trying to break the pre-market highs. Let's see if I can get a chart to resolve. So here you go on Amazon. Marcus, go Broncos. How about that game yesterday, Marcus? How about that game? Ranny's continuing. Let's take a look at that. Here's Ranny. I would agree with that. Tuna, this actually right through VWAP on Ranny. REPL pulling back. Let's take a look and see what the level 2 looks like on Ranny. Well, I'll tell you what, this does kind of look like it's going to try and go higher, doesn't it? Hassett says that the shutdown will end this week. Well, it's Schumer that I want to hear this from. It's the Schumer shutdown. So that's great that Hassett thinks that. And that would actually probably move for a pop, but we got to see someone from the other side say that, don't we, Wiss? Don't we need Schumer to say something like that? You'll have to let me know. Let me know what you hear on that. I've been trying to ignore those clowns. Also, mostly because there's been a lot of football and I've been able to, do something else that I enjoy as opposed to following what the people in politics are doing. Jeremy says the shutdown will not end this week. So just food for thought there. All right, let's take a look. LAES, Izzy, you're mentioning that's pulling. Ranny, by the way, could not go higher yet. Oh my God, LAES gave up everything from this morning. Everything so far. I cannot bring up a chart at all. That's on Webull. Bo says he can't trade. Shree says, is anyone thinking of shorting Amazon for this crap? I mean, if I thought I could make money off of it, I would like to, but Amazon keeps going up amidst this crap. Low volume day. Smoke Tuna, now I'm starting to think that some of the volumes might be a little bit muted because the technology problems seem to be widespread. It does not matter on what state it is or any of that. So I'm almost wondering if you're going to see lower volumes across the board in the market. JL says this is crazy. People complaining about Webull and Hood on X. That's going to be a large part of our retail traders probably not able to trade. By the way, Tesla moving higher here. So for those of you that can, and guys, any of you guys and gals, any of you that are having any type of trouble with your brokers, to me, it's just not worth even trying to trade. Even if it looks like it's coming back. I mean, just be careful. Just be really careful. This is not a day where you want something stupid. You don't want to lose money because of something stupid that's out of your control. That's what I would say. My Webull completely shut off from trading. That's no bueno. That's no bueno. Tesla here, I would still came back in. I would actually still just kind of watch this level. For those of you that are trading here, maybe 445.5 there on Tesla if that breaks. App, you guys want to take a look at App? Oh my God, I need a drink. My throat is dry. Oh, App getting smoked here. We didn't have any news on this, though, did we? Tell you what, I think App is going to test this edge of this gap here. I've got this at, what does this actual candle say? Low here, 535.70. Let's call it 536. That to me is a pretty significant support level. 536. That's going to get tested here. We actually have a gap down to 500. So I think if App loses this area here at 536, it probably goes to 500. FYI. So looks like we're in a down move here from App. If that continues, probably 500 on the test. Oh. Skynet. Skynet takes over. I think I've got anti-robot slugs here. I think I'll be okay. We'll see. That's a joke, guys. Let's take a look at HOND. This is one of those SPACs from last week. So that pulled back a little bit. Apple might still test 260. Rigetti lower still. Looks like a 45 test coming here on Rigetti spaghetti. Boy, I'll tell you what, guys. I definitely sold that inverse ETF too early. I made money on it, and it was pretty good. Felt good at the time, but good Lord, this thing really started to accelerate after I sold that there. Come on. We are having all types of technology issues here today. Good Lord. Good Lord, folks. Here's your Rigetti move. 44, your next level down. 44, your next level down. Josh saying that there's big news coming this week for CCCX. That was another one of those SPACs that we had taken a look at here recently. Churchill. What was the other one? SVII. That one moved, didn't it? What's that doing again? Okay, that came in off of that other move. That one might still go again, though. We'll see. And then, sorry. Okay. ABAT is surging. That's that battery play. We talked about that one pulling back from some of the highs. Let's see where that went to. Yes, that girl, Verify Me, VRME. We talked a little bit about verification, identification, and authentication kind of being a theme. I still believe that. Let me check VRME next here. Here's your ABAT. So we had just talked about this one really kind of coming in from its recent highs. I think it was in a 9 handle. Sorry, I'm struggling with the chart here. AWS ruling the world might be a bad thing, says Anne-Marie. Yeah, you might be onto something there. Here's your ABAT. So here's the one thing to keep in mind here with ABAT. If this continues to move higher, and it did move today on nice volume, I wouldn't say chase this thing, but you actually have some pretty good levels as outlined by previous areas on the way back up. I would say your next level of interest here, if it can crack this where it's at right now, it can crack 650. I think I've got 760s-ish, then probably 9. Maybe there's some here in the 8. In any case, you got a lot of real recent levels here from ABAT if this continues. This was a good mention. This did end up curling up here. By the way, REPL, that looks like it's rolling over to VWAP. Looks like it actually tested VWAP once, at least in my broker. That candle almost printed on it. This, to me, I think this is in the rollover phase. Maybe if it finds some support at VWAP, there's a trade there, but I would wait for that. Marcus says, I've never had this problem. I can't even see my account. Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that your account is probably okay. But obviously, this Amazon Web Services issue has created a ton of problems here today. A ton of... Interesting. Now you're getting a 504 gateway timeout. You know what's funny about that is I believe one of the errors that 13 was getting was a gateway timeout. I think it was a 503. 13 said that his broker is also under pressure and he is not trading at all with what's going on here. Honestly, I think that's smart. I don't think that trading today, especially for some of like these short-term tactical trades, I don't think this is the best idea here today. I'm going to be happy to check some of these different stocks for you folks, but I don't think I'm going to be trading today. There's 13. So here's GSAT or GSIT, excuse me. I think I called it GSAT. Looks like 10 tests coming here. Ooh, ideal power is a little bit higher. I'll take that. Miraculously, I'm having a decent day here, not doing anything. Maybe that's the secret, guys. Just don't do anything. You ever seen Forgetting Sarah Martin? You're doing too much. Do less. I feel like maybe that's the right thing to do here. Ethereum higher. Palo Alto higher. Amazon still trading higher. That is trying to take out the pre-market highs. Okay, let's see what the chat is saying here. B Hall saying toss is working fine. It appears that that's the case too, B Hall, at least on my end here. But again, I'm not making any trades if the infrastructure of our brokers are not working correctly. Looks okay so far. Mitosis says, I'm in the south of Mexico and Webull is also not working for me. Okay. James says Fidelity is working fine. Oh, Gary here. My Thinkorswim is working fine and I have placed trades. Okay, Gary, that's actually good to know. Maybe I'll try something on reduced size if I see a setup here. And we'll see if that works. I really don't want to if I get screwed by like a technology issue, then I will actually be upset. And I woke up in a great mood today on this Victory Monday. E-Trade is working. Thank you, Izzy. Moo is working. All right, Kevin. All right, Kevin. Here, let me go through some of these tickers here. REPL, that actually, oh man, do I have FOMO, guys? Chat, do I have FOMO? Because I feel like this is trading up towards the high end of the range. REPL. I feel like I have FOMO there. Fidelity and Thinkorswim are working fine here in New York. Okay. Tasty Trade, Merrill, Toss, and Interactive Brokers all working. REPL, this is going. This is going. Tesla's screaming to the highs. 448 your high now on Tesla. And actually, I'm not sure if I trust my unusual options here. I did not see a lot of Tesla. I do see like a little bit, but this is all short-term trading. These are traders like retail guys trading this week. More sizable moves there on Apple, but that's short-term too. Okay, so there's definitely still some people trading here. Tesla's still ripping higher. 448.40, your high print on Tesla. REPL, this also still curling. In fact, with REPL, I think your next spot is going to be right up here at like 950 on REPL. 450 is the call wall in Tesla. Thank you, Anne Marie. Watch for the rejection there. So that's what we're going to do. So possibly this thing possibly stopping here at 450 on Tesla. Boy, we are 2 points away from that. TTD is screaming. Where's Lion Atlas at? You know, this is funny. See, I'm not even getting like a WebSocket price quote for TTD, but you're right. This is screaming as well. So, Big B's, are we at the bottom? Is the bottom in for the trade desk? I'd love to see it get above this 55, kind of like this sideways area here. I still want this gap fill. I just don't know if we're going to get that here. Let me know if you think the bottom is in here, the trade desk, ticker TTD. Tesla looks like that stopped at least temporarily. Okay. REPL, what's that doing here? That kind of stopped on that curl. Oh, never mind. All I had to do was talk about it and it started going again. Yeah, I don't trust that. I don't really trust a whole lot of anything right now. I hate to be the negative Nancy about it, but I just don't. I don't really trust a lot of stuff here. Let me actually try a refresh here. Let's see if that fixes some of the quote issues. I don't know if that's going to be an Amazon issue or not. Let's go back to that main workspace here. RAPT is halted. That actually did fix some of the quoting issues. So this got pulled and halted to the upside here, right? And that was halted at 51. So that was halted 3 minutes ago. Good mention here on Wrapped. And honestly, folks, the refresh of Benzinga Pro, this actually did help solve some of the WebSocket issues, it looks like. Because I have good quoting on all of this. And it's updating. Growl, this actually pulled off the high now that I'm looking at it. Beyond Meat, that gave up $1 and is going lower here. Take that. Take that. Take that. All right. The underlying DNS issue has been fully mitigated, and most Amazon Web Services operations are succeeding normally now. Some requests may be throttled while we work towards full resolution. Okay, so it sure sounds like you're going to have, as long as there's throttling, there's going to be people that can't log in. And I think as far as like the finance stuff goes, there's going to be, I mean, I think everyone's probably trying to log into their broker. REPL, that looks like this might be trying again here. There we go. Finally, needs to get above 950 here at REPL. Shree's asking, will this crash affect the price movement for Microsoft because Azure is still working? Not a bad question. I think that if they're going to get this resolved, it looks to me like this is not responding. I mean, Microsoft is basically flat here. So I would say that this is not responding to what's going on. What are the long-term implications of that? I don't know. Man, Ondas continuing to pull back here. I really hope that doesn't go green to red. ONDS here. I know it's been a rough couple of days. It's been a rough couple of days after a huge, huge move. I keep trying to remind myself, but no bueno here, man. No bueno. I hope that this sets up again. My calls are going to get wiped out if this thing really does roll over into a 6 handle. Hope that doesn't happen. Thankfully, we sold a lot of the stock on the way up here. Okay, RX getting a mention here from Tuna. Let's see what we got on RX. You know what, Tuna? This is a good mention, too, because this popped above the high that we made last week on Thursday. RX, this is the one that had that deal with SoftBank months ago, right? Pretty sure. Yeah, this has actually had a lot of really good news this year. 2025 was a pretty good news year for this. Interesting on this pop here. Where are we at on the daily chart on RX? Okay, so we're coming up to a pretty important level, aren't we? 715, next resistance area here. Look at the supply zone that we're in. This probably gives us some area up towards like 850-ish. 715, key level coming up here pretty soon. RX. This was a good mention, Tuna. 745 is the golden ratio there on Ondas. Maybe that'll provide some support. That makes sense. Apple 260. We still want to see that 260 break. 259.87, the high print I have in Apple so far here today. And Tesla, by the way, Anne-Marie's call and that call wall at 450. Yeah, that was pretty good. Tesla didn't quite print 450 here, but it definitely traded up to that level here. Didn't quite print it, but we're stopping there. We'll see if it's got the strength to get through that. LDI is popping. Lone Depot. Maybe. I don't it did pop here. I don't see a trade here though. G said, are we halted again here? Oh my God. This was the runner of the day here. Not my day here, guys. I said, don't chase this when this thing was $8. Here we are 5 points higher. G said, nothing but green candles here. Which halt? This is the fourth halt. They've all been to the upside. And this halted 957. These have been 5-minute halts, haven't they? Halt 950, resume 955. Yeah. So these have been 5-minute halts. We'll see if that's the case here. 957, that unhalts us. 10:02:06 should be our unhalt time for GSIT if that maintains another 5-minute halt, which is what we've seen here so far. Big ring here. Register ring for anyone that traded GSIT. I was not on that myself, but if you traded it, good stuff. Good mention there, Tennis. Robinhood is down for you. Like you can't log in. You can't pull up charts. That's no bueno. Who else here uses Robinhood? I was planning on going to the DMV today, Brian. Bro, if any of these services like service out. Oh, look at this. We got 13. 13, can you hear me? No, we still have an audio issue. Y'all are happy to see 13. 13, can you hear me? I heard you there. Say hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Can you hear me?
I can't hear Ryan, so...
We tried, guys.
We're trying, folks.
Hey, can you bring 13 back so I can at least go to the washroom? Ah, 1 hour loop says my college uses Canvas for most of the classes as a home base, and it's down because of Amazon Web Services. He's on YouTube. He's actually on Google Meet. Or is it an unlisted YouTube? See if you can bring 13 back on and have him run down some stocks here so I can go to the washroom. Let's try that. Bathroom. All right, let's try this. Okay, producer, you do it then. Let me message him.
Okay, put in some tickers, folks. I don't know what we're even looking at anymore. What do we yeah. Yeah, okay, so let's see here. Jerry rigging everything today, everybody. All right, so we're already trading. Okay, so GSIT. I guess I'll pull that one up. Hilarious. All right, so what's this doing here today? Moving up after it announced the publication on a paper of APU CIM architectures. Fantastic. This thing is taking off now. Oh, hey, I just got a little information here that my broker's having problems. So issue confirmed. Let's go to a chart here, see if I can find out where we think this might end up going. Sorry, I'm not prepared to, do this this particular way, but it is what it is. Now for GSIT, how far back does this go? If we can look at some levels. Doesn't look like we've ever been up this high, unless I'm just looking at a split adjusted chart. So I would just use a fib extension. And once Ryan gets back, he'll probably be able to show you that better than I will, because I don't have the share screen ability right now. And I don't know what happens out of this halt. Let's move on to something else here.
How did that work?
ANRO 10, here we go. So this one we can actually get some levels from. Looks like we might be running into some kind of level at about 1250. This is already pretty extended here today. Bigger move came last month toward the end of September. Was that news? Let's take a look and see. This buy rating. Oh, so it looks like there was fast track designation that this got. Actually, it looks like it was in early October, earlier this month. So that's what initially sent it. Uh-oh.
Nope.
There you are.
Good.
I hear you.
Are we getting the double stuff?
I hear you. I don't see you though.
Okay. Yeah, you don't because they all see me on Restream though, right? Yes.
Looks like they do.
Yes. They see me. Can you guys hear me? Did we make shift this? Can you can you hear me in chat? Can you hear me in 13?
Oh, there's an echo. Okay.
Oh, there's an echo. No. Well, that's probably me. Okay, that's probably me. Hang on. How's this? Is the echo gone? Tell me if the echo is gone.
Still there. See if you can.
I have Restream muted.
Okay.
I have one of them muted. I'm here in meeting with you. Let me try. Let me try. Now we're good.
Okay, great. All right.
Good. Okay, echo's gone. We did it, folks. We did it.
All right. And we may have gone through the entire box of Band-Aids, but we did it. So
echo is back.
Oh man.
Let me try. Hang on. How about now? It says I'm getting a message saying that my mic is muted. Crow says I kind of like it. Crow, that is echo is back. Just restart your system. Albert, no, that's not going to help. Okay, now we're seeing it's no echo. Good. Okay, 13, say something.
Hello? Echo? I'm gone?
No, okay, no, we're good. We are good here. I just got to keep Restream muted. We only see half of 13 because my producer, can you change that pin around? Okay, we're gonna roll with this here. We're gonna roll with this.
I'll just lean like this. All right. So I'm looking
just lean like this. Let's go, 13.
ANRO is the one I'm looking at right now, and we're coming up into a little bit of a consolidation area that starts a little bit less, like under 10. Like, well, I guess we could say it started more along the lines of 8, but we're coming up to a much thicker area of this consolidation around 10, and as we approach the middle of it, that's going to be somewhere between 1250 to 1275. I think you're going to see a lot of more resistance kick in. So if we can get back up into the 10 handle, that's what I'd be expecting here with ANRO. Nice move today. So it's got a 50 million private placement. Well, that's good because it's a pharma company. It's probably burning through cash. Let's take a look and see if that's the case. Yep, loses over 17 million a year. But it has a lot of cash, but it's still doing a 50 million private placement. Anyway, that's what I see with ANRO.
Yeah, I mean, if it loses 17 mil a quarter and it's got 150 million on hand, I mean, maybe it doesn't need some type of offering soon, but
Sony doesn't want to dilute shares either.
Sounds good now, Ryan. Okay, sweet. Yeah, gone. Okay. Sweet.
Right.
We need, guys, chat. We need everyone in here to log in on your regular account, like the stream, and then go on your alt accounts and like the stream that way because we were able to get through this. GSIT halted again.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do a fib extension on that.
Okay, let's try it. 13.
As I don't have any levels up at this area. We're just in blue sky territory.
Okay, let me see if we can do this to this. No, that doesn't give any levels above. That's no good. I don't have a good pullback level here for this.
I mean, the last highs from what was that, July or August? Maybe that from that peak to trough.
Yeah, so I think you're talking about a retracement then from like here to we're above all of them. Look at that.
Yeah. Just extended from those, I would guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure they're on GSET, but this thing is this is the 6th halt, and they've all been to the upside now on GSIT. Smoke Tuna saying GSIT pullback, you'd want this to 1465. High price there, 2516. Okay.
And ANRO is also still continuing upwards. This now hitting 11.
Okay, so we do have 2 runners here then. We've got ANRO and GSIT running here today.
Sorry, I'm just waiting for my movers tool to refresh. How is REPL looking? Did that come back in?
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. REPL is still holding right above its VWAP here, 13.
Let's see. Not sure I like the way that looks.
Me either. I still want this to print and prove it can hold the VWAP. I don't like the look of it either. Yeah, VRME, this is the one. Yes, that girl was mentioning this earlier. 13, I know you talked about Verify Me for the verification theme that we've kind of been talking about. This actually looks like this might be trying to break 140 and move higher here.
Let's see. It said VRME?
VRME, yeah. Verify Me.
This was the one that I was talking about in Happy Hour because it had that tracking angle for for shipping. So we were kind of questioning how are we going to be able to track these tariffs, and this is one of the solutions. I was looking around. This is one of the names I came up with as potential mover on that theme. How are we doing over the past several days? We are actually looking pretty good here. This is a nice move out of some of these slower moving averages. We're in a consolidation area back from the August to October of 2024. That range there, it's like about 125 to 150. If we get above that, we could see this move a little bit more freely, but there's other areas of consolidation that's going to run up into beyond that. But this is a big one here. 13,
I have the same problem that you've had in the past where the chat is just gone now.
The chat's got, it's Restream's having trouble. It's
everything's up. Everything's up. Yeah. You know what I'm going to try to do though? Let me try and open up the stream on YouTube and then pop the chat out so I can still read it. I think I might have a solution for this. Hang on a sec.
We're trying, folks.
We're going to keep trying. You can bet your ass that we are going to try until the final bell here. That much I can tell you.
It's not our fault, but we're trying.
You got that right.
All right, let's see here. So we got, I'm just still looking at VMRE or VRME, just kind of looking at areas for future support and resistance. It really does look like you got a lot of support resistance levels every 25 cents. Down where we're at here. So from 150 to 175 to $2. Those are all really big looking support resistance levels. 225 after that, 250. I mean, it's like every 25 cents. There's a big area of resistance on the way back up.
Okay, I've got the chat popped out here. I think we're good, 13. I think we're good. Well, we are going to battle today. Let me tell you something. We are going to battle today.
Folks are mentioning RAPT. I saw this being a mover this morning, but there's no real volume in this thing. I mean, it's more than the average volume, but aside from compared to these other movers, this doesn't have a whole lot of volume. We're about to hit 2 million shares for the regular session. Now, compare that to some of these other movers where Let's say, for example, REPL. Let's see what that's doing for this session. 71 million. That's more like it. That's what you want to see out of these movers. REPT. I feel like this is moving on just making some really illiquid moves. Be very careful if you're going to trade REPT.
This thing's spread like crazy, 13. I just brought this up here and it's spread like a full $1. Yeah,
be careful with that one if you're going to try and trade it, or because given the conditions of today, maybe don't even try this at all. It's up to you.
I'm with you on that one. They actually did have a huge volume stick there, so I understand. I mean, this thing just immediately started to trade up. I'd stay away from this. I'd be careful about this, or with that one. Sorry.
Now we have AZTR that has started to curl back up. This looks like it's trying to recapture 110. It looks like that's the next area it's trying to go for here, because we did break up to that level earlier this morning before we opened. Hung out above there, but then shortly after we opened, like about 20 minutes after we opened, looks like we lost that level. I'm sorry, no. This is all in the pre-market. In the pre-market at around 850, we lost that level. And now we're trying to recapture it, 110. So I think that's going to be a big resistance area right here. We need to see some large expanding volume to get through this resistance area.
Okay, AZTR, this is trying right now, to your point, 13, literally trying right now. The other one here that's trying for higher is going to be NVTS. I know a couple of you are mentioning this one. Ryan, looks like you're on this one here. NVTS, 17 looks to be your key level if that can break to the upside. Hold off that spot a little bit right there.
Are we looking at potentially a little bit of a short squeeze here? 30.8%. I think AWS maybe also be affecting some of the inputs here for Pro, but
I think 13, what it's really affecting is the volume. I think we had a feed here that was counting the volume and the price that has, obviously had its own issue here this morning. So I'm just not sure how good I feel about those volume totals.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the short interest, not getting that data to load. So just kind of, look, I'm blaming it on AWS.
Yeah, I'm blaming everything on AWS today, 13. That's just what we've decided. I almost wonder if Zoom's going to have trouble for happy hour later. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, and it might be rickety. So NVTS with that high short interest, I'm thinking that we're seeing some of that squeezing action here today. Let me look and see where that might end up taking the price here, because we are coming up to a bit of a resistance area. We hit this level, it's like twice already. Yeah, so this was also the high last Thursday as well. This area right where we're at.
What do you think if this falls beneath 17 or 1673? I think maybe that comes in towards that VWAP, which I've got at 1637.
So,
because I'm basically saying it's going to lose this sideways area just shy of 17. I still think 17 is your upside level.
I mean, if you what I'm looking at now is back in the price action back from 2021 to 2022, just that the last those 2 quarters basically in that area, going into that from one year to the next. This is a particularly interesting resistance and support area. With support for months, and then in December of 2021 it lost it and has not been able to recapture it. So I think this area right around 17 to 18. Very important for the stock. It really needs to see more volume and get through 18, because I think that this whole 17. It looks, maybe let's move it up a little bit and call it 1750 to 18. That seems to be about the real big rejection area for this NVTS stock. So we need to see some big volume right there to take us up through 18.
All right, we'll see if we get it.
Why is TJX down over 10% today? Sorry if there was another question ahead of that. That's the one.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I didn't see any news on TJX.
Yeah, I'll look at the news in just a second, but holy cow, what a nice run this thing has been on for, years. This thing has just been continuing to climb ever since we had COVID. Has not looked back. Let me see if there's anything we can find out about why we're seeing it move down to now. PJX, I don't see it. 10% move down.
Yeah, neither do I. I see it down 0.5%. I think that might be a troll comment, to be honest.
Yeah. Or if it's not, it's probably something being affected by Amazon Web Services outage. So there's two answers to that, and you just got both. All right, what else do we want to look at? BYND still going higher. Veggie patties maybe coming back. Let's hope not.
Yeah, let's hope not.
I'd make some pretty good jokes about that, but they're mostly tasteless.
I hear you clucking there, big chicken. GSIT, did we finally get a halt down here? Yeah, so we finally did get a pull and a halt down there.
I think more than anything, just the positive news it's been getting, and you have a 1.5 billion zero coupon convertible notes that it completed. So it's getting cash. I think that you're getting mostly a short squeeze here. I mean, if this short information is correct, 54% of the float shorted with 8.9 days to, 4.4 days to cover. I think you're seeing a lot of this upward price action is being a short squeeze. I don't think veggie patties are coming back in a meaningful way.
Yeah, neither do I. I'm with you on that.
Maybe the next administration. ANRO tastes like BYND. That's the joke. ANRO.
Ondas continuing to get smoked here. So I've done nothing with my Ondas position the last couple of days here, watching it get smoked just like you folks are. There's a Navitas, by the way, just popped above 17. That makes me wonder if that's clearing a road higher here.
And when it comes to ONDS, you're okay with all this happening because you kind of anticipated that this would happen at some point.
Well, yeah. Also, when this thing moved from pennies to $10, you had to sell on the way up. So yeah, okay. But I want to see. I don't necessarily like a move all the way up to 11 and a huge pullback. We lost 30+% of the company's value in 2 weeks. But longer term approach here. Okay, holding what I have.
But it's still up for the year.
Poll results. What year will Optimus production overtake car production? 33% of you said 2030 to 2035. 24% of you said before 2030. And 23% of you said 2035 plus. 20% of you said it will never happen. Tesla also pulling back. So let me tell you something. That call wall that Anne-Marie gave you earlier today, that was pretty crispy. Thing went up to 449 and change and pulled back off the 450 spot she had mentioned.
Yeah, I must be getting a better, more updated read from the short interest on GSIT because, yeah, I'm showing that it's 1% of the float shorted. So whatever I was mentioning that it was earlier, that must not have been a correct read.
Here's Navitas through 17.
BTS.
1720 is your intraday high print there.
Now, this one's still showing the short interest as being 30.8, so pretty sure this is right.
No position for me in Navitas. Yeah, Zach, that's what I'm thinking too. The pullback here is healthy. We'll see what happens when it gets some more news flow there.
Let's see where this, I think I may have mentioned where I thought this was going to pull back to ONDS, but let's see if that's, if I still believe the spot I said, or if it's still the same as what I was thinking earlier. That's not looking good.
Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at ONDS.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I may have said that it's probably going to be somewhere between 6 and 8. I think that's what I recall saying. Six definitely looks like a support area though.
There was some news here. SafePro Group, which is ticker SPAI, a leader in artificial intelligence powered defense and security solutions, announced that it entered into a definitive agreement for a $14 million strategic investment led by Ondas. Now, remember, when we talked with Eric last week, he said that this was something that they were looking for, right? They were looking for other, merger and acquisition deals to try and strengthen Ondas's portfolio. And we're getting news about that here today. Now, I don't have anything necessarily on SafePro Group. This additional investment by Ondas serves as a further valuation of our capabilities to leverage AI and drones to enhance soldier safety and humanitarian missions globally. Eric Brock here said our additional investment in SafePro reflects Ondas's confidence in the growing role of AI and autonomy in advancing defense and humanitarian operations worldwide. So it seems like that seems all right here, but that's basically a $14 million investment in SPAI. How's that stock doing today? That's down big time. Holy, look at this.
Sounds like an eye in the sky almost,
Yeah.
Like just kind of drones just hanging out, looking down and making sure there's nothing coming. What's causing the pullback in Oracle today?
Take a look at that. Want me to bring up Oracle?
Sure, let's look at Oracle.
Navitas, by the way, I know it was flirting with 17. It's kind of stopped there. It's still at 17, but it hasn't made that huge push through. We're still waiting on 1720 to fall there. That's NVTS. Here's your Oracle chart. Oracle down almost 3% here today.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot of news. Cautious hold rating amid AI ambitions and financial risks. Goldman Sachs gave it a price target raised to 320 from 310, so it doesn't think that there's a whole lot of upside. That could be one of the that could be some profit taking off that news if people aren't confident that this is going a whole lot higher. I mean, we were just at those prices last week, so that likely could be the case. I mean, look at the price action that we had on October 16th, Thursday. The high was 322.54, right up in that area where their price target was. And so we were just literally there. And these price targets that the analyst gives, they're typically 12 to 24 month price targets. So in 12 to 24 months, in 1 to 2 years, they're saying that they anticipate the price to be hardly that much higher than where it was last week. That's more or less what they're getting at. That might be a sell the news event, or that might be some kind of selling event where if Goldman Sachs in particular doesn't think that there's a whole lot more meat on this bone, I think investors are maybe moving out of this a little bit. That would be my assessment anyway. What do you think, Ryan?
I'm sorry, I was checking on something else. We were talking earlier about how the volume numbers looked to be off. I'm actually spot checking a lot of these right now against Thinkorswim, which really didn't have trouble here today. And it looks like we got these volume numbers working again, 13. So okay. when we were first talking earlier, it looked like these were not correct. I am seeing them correct across the board on every ticker I spot check. So I think we're good now with the volume numbers as far as the data feed goes. Also looks like we're good with price here. Yeah, this one also checks out. So it looks like that's fixed. That was a problem that we were dealing with earlier. Couldn't really make it an assessment based on the volume numbers. Now that's different. Now we can. That should be good.
All right. Yeah, I'm still having some inputs lag or issues outright with my broker and some of the other information that I'm seeing here, but it's good that we're getting some of it back. The only question
that's the thing, 13. I actually bench tested this against Thinkorswim, which did not seem to be having problems here. So anyway,
yeah, I was just asking you what you thought about Oracle because or the reason for the move down, and to me, it's I was kind of leaning on what Goldman Sachs had viewed as a potential price target, being at the price where we just were last week. So I was just explaining that because they think that in 12 to 24 months, the stock price is going to be about what it was last week. So there's not a whole lot left on there. It might have spooked some investors out of this position.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things here. So we were seeing earlier that tech was moving up without the help of NVIDIA. Let's check on NVIDIA. Okay, so NVIDIA has since turned green here. Sorry, I'm going to circle back to Oracle to make the point
Okay.
here. But Jay earlier had mentioned that NVIDIA was pulling right out of the open and the NASDAQ was going higher. NASDAQ is still going higher here. It looks like NVIDIA might be joining it now. So I was wondering then, maybe as that applies to Oracle, maybe we were seeing some rotation out of Oracle. The other thing that I noticed here, 13, is we have a trend line here from that initial all-time high impulse pop. We actually recently we've struggled to really kind of maintain this trend line. I know we peaked above it, but we basically lost it in the two previous days. I've got support on Oracle here down at about 275. Yeah, you know what? I would advise 278, 13. Sorry about that. 278 looks to be the spot here for Oracle. I think if we test this and hold, maybe we retry the trend line. Otherwise, I think we have a gap fill down here to the 240 handle. And I'm just getting that based on the daily chart.
So closer to the level you just mentioned, but still beneath it, is the 50-day SMA at 272.74. That probably will be the one of the areas that we can lean on for support, because it's right in the same area that you're talking about. I do like 275 as a support area, and the 50-day SMA is just beneath that. So I could see a scenario where we do trade down beneath 275, but then we run into that 50-day SMA and we get some support there that helps lift it back over 275. That's certainly something that might happen. But I would think that you're right. The 275, 50-day SMA, that whole area in the early 270s, that looks like there's support coming there. And if that fails, I think you're right about the gap fill too.
Okay. There you go on Oracle, losing that trend line here. Here's GSIT. Looks like this is open. Yeah, GSIT here, open, moving lower. Navitas getting another mention here from the chat. Whoa, Navitas did it. Look at that. It did take out that high there, and we were right on with the spot. 1750 is your next spot. Navitas approaching the second resistance area.
Yep, 1750. That so now we have a resistance turn support area. It looks like I would say 16 could be that support if we don't hang out up here. But let's see how far up we can go. 18, the next resistance level.
JL mentioning that there were some government congressional members selling Oracle. Let me see if I've got them here in the government tabs trade. I almost wonder if this is updated with some of the data issues that we've had earlier. It looks like it's actually not even loading right now. I'll see if I can grab that here, JL. It's a good mention.
The last record I have of anybody selling Oracle is from September 23rd. That was Val Hoyle from the House of Representatives.
Okay, so we don't have a new one yet. I almost wonder if that's not updated yet. And interesting, that won't populate for me, but is populating for you. Very interesting. Okay, well, we tried to get to the bottom of that. This is Canaan. This ripped out of the gate. This was up in the pre-market. We didn't cover it, but man, it's made a decent move out of the open here. NVIDIA looks like that power move that we just took a look at, that might have stopped there about 185. Ondas is bouncing. Rocket also went higher.
Looking at Canaan,
yeah, CAN.
Yeah, I'm missing some data on this as well. Man, this is just a weird day with all these outages. What's Amazon stock doing?
Continuing to grind higher. It's actually above its pre-market highs. 13, we were looking at that earlier. Had a couple of intrepid folks here wanting to short Amazon based on the web services. But look at this. Higher than the pre-market high. This went lower. It's trading back up here. Maybe people are buying the dip on that web services outage. SPY here, 670. We talked about 673 being the level it really needs to cross.
Yeah, you know.
AMD all-time high.
I'm looking at a chart for Amazon here, and I still don't like the way that this past, I guess 5 or so months have looked. Kind of looks like we run into some pretty tough resistance, and we're maybe heading lower. Now, it is nice that we are seeing a move back above the 200-day SMA. This is going to be just one close back above it since it closed beneath it on Friday. I think I would watch to see how high this recapture goes. I have a suspicion that it might go as high as 220, but 220 could be an area where you're going to see some pretty tough resistance. So even if it gets back up there, it could do it slowly, and might do it quickly. But 220, that looks like a tough spot for Amazon. For the rest of the year, I would probably say.
So do you think Amazon might not be a decent like holiday month play here? Like if 220 is the top, maybe this doesn't go higher in November and December?
Well, it might. What I'm saying is I think it could go lower before it goes higher. So I think that there might be some more downside coming before that buying opportunity is present. I don't want to say that it's not going to have a good retail holiday season. It certainly could. I just think in the near term, this price action we've been getting looks like 220 is a pretty tough area to get back above right now. So that's just kind of what I'm looking at right now. It just seems like 220 is going to be tough. We'll see what happens.
Big Abees thinks the same thing you do. I expect Amazon to come on in a little bit lower before it makes a move towards that high.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's something we can look at.
Yeah, it seems like it's more on the. It's been on the decline since August, really, maybe early September, late August. Oh yeah, there are some gaps absolutely to consider. I think the big one doesn't come until, or one of the bigger ones doesn't come until you get down to 200. There's one from just under 200 that goes down to like 193. And I think the other one beneath that is going to be down around 180. That could take you down to in the low 170s. Other than that, it's currently getting support from the 200-day SMA. This doesn't look like it's going to hold up, especially with this volume. It doesn't look like it's getting great volume either. We'll see.
Lululemon, by the way, I know we've been talking about this one recently. I would love to see it maybe fill this gap. It is in its positive seasonality period from here for the rest of the year. So I have no position here yet on Lulu, but I have been looking at this. Does anyone else like Lulu for a potential trade into the holiday season here? Good seasonality backing it.
I think it might be a good trade. I think we'll have a better idea if it can recapture 180 soon. Because then it'll be above the 50-day SMA, and we can finish this potential gap fill. The last time it went up to 180, it was rejected. This is, we're coming off the downside from that latest rejection, and today we're now trading above the 20-day SMA for the first time since the 10th, so 10 days. And we have a gap fill on this one too. That takes it over 200 if it fills completely. So those are the next areas of resistance I'd be kind of watching out for. Is this 180 here, where this, where the 50-day SMA is down, near. But after that, you have a gap fill that takes it up to 200. So 180 and 200. Next couple of resistance areas to the upside that I see.
Yeah, at 13, I like that. And, we were talking about this as an area here for Lulu because, look, this actually went, this 165 to 175-ish area. We're at the top end of that range. This area goes all the way back to 2018. Jay here says, mentioned it last week, reminds me of EL. I don't remember what your outlook on EL is. Yeah, no, I know that's Estee Lauder. I don't remember what his outlook on it is, but here, so Estee Lauder. So it looks like, Jay, am I correct in assuming that you think maybe the bottom on Lulu is in? Estee Lauder is at a huge beatdown from its highs. Looks like the bottom's in on the chart. Maybe it's time to turn around. Do you think the same thing on Lulu? Am I getting that right? Let me know.
Because these are consumer discretionary, and that is a absolutely hammered sector this year. And I anticipate that sector and some of the other consumer sectors are going to do better next year. So some of these names down here certainly look really attractive. As far as Lulu goes, though, the thing that I'm looking at right now, this is when their next earnings are. And it looks like December is when they have their next earnings. December looks like one of the earlier weeks, the first week of December, I think. I think that there's going to be upside with Lulu as long as we don't see any sales on their website.
Okay.
Yes. You remember that?
Yes, I do. And you know what's interesting about that 13 is that they often don't advertise their sales. You kind of have to just check the website.
Right. Well, the thing is, they never have sales, like on their website. If there's a sale happening with Lulu, it's like from another retailer that carries them. But Lulu themselves, I think that one of the big things was that they don't have sales.
No, I've seen some of their products on their website be on sale, but it's not as if they have a big banner that says 30% off sale here
Right.
at this one. Like you actually have to check the items, and some of them
Yeah.
might be on sale. They don't necessarily advertise for that. Really quickly here, though, I had asked, does anyone think Lulu might make a good trading to Q4? Veggie Girl said yes. And then there were a couple other things here. Kathy saying, Lulu, there's a new partnership with Amex Platinum cardholders. They get $400 per year or $100 per quarter to spend, and that could boost sales. I would agree with that, Kathy. I think that we saw from Amex's recent earnings report that the affluent customer is still shopping and still doing okay. I would imagine Lulu going there or being a part of those people's purchases. Smoke Tuna also likes EL, has liked it since 50. Jay, yeah, you agreed there that it was Lulu's oversold. This is interesting. Producer here saying Estee Lauder and Lulu are Burry's biggest holdings.
Well, so what I was getting at with Lulu was, the last time that we were anticipating this downside, we observed that they had a big sale on their website, and it was the thought was they were they had overstocked their inventory. They had way too much inventory, and they needed to unwind it. And sure enough, we noticed this ahead of their earnings. We were kind of bearish into their earnings, and as sure enough, they reported that lower sales or I think lower margins, something to that effect, that reflected our concern about them selling at a big discount on their website. So I think I with that in mind, I'm bullish on Lulu, provided they don't have some kind of sale on their website where you're seeing like markdowns of maybe 15 to 30%. I think that would indicate that they've got way too much supply that they're trying to get rid of ahead of earnings. Otherwise, I think that they're going to have a good holiday season. That's just what I would watch for them.
Yeah, no, I that's good. I'm just going to really quickly check right now. I'm basically going to the men's 5-pocket pant page. I'm just going to see. Do I see any discounts here at all? I know that this is just kind of boots on the ground. ABC slim fit 5-pocket pant and a specific length is on sale. Yeah, it looks like some of their skinny and slim fit stuff is on sale. It looks like they're rotating out some of their older stock here on sale because a lot of this doesn't have a lot of colors. Okay. Does seem like there are some on there, but it looks very slim pickings, and I don't think this is any of the new product line that they have going on. So
tennis. I think I really don't have an opinion today because of the nature of the issue that we're having, with Amazon Web Services. I think that once you are done with GSIT and you're closing the broker, that's probably going to be the best course of action to take with a day like this.
Yeah,
I haven't traded anything. I'm not going to trade anything. It's just not worth the risk, and if we're having issues with our brokers and with data.
this is halted to the upside after a little bit of a pullback. Basically, the 9 EMA, this thing now moved to the upside here. 15.15 is the halt. 17.50 is the high. Yeah, Jay's right here. Pay attention to DEC, ticker DECK. They report earnings here. Let me check real quick. Pretty sure. Here's the calendar. Deckers, they report earnings on Thursday after the close. That's ticker DECK. Pay attention to them. That may give you a read through here on Lulu earnings. They report Thursday. Kind of reminds me of Lulu. Growth favorite that fell out of favor. So we'll see if DEC ends up having a pretty good earnings. Jay, that's not a bad call at all.
DEC outdoor group, huh?
Producer here is telling me that On Lulu's UK site, at the end of the list, they have a "We Made Too Much"
Oh,
section, which is their sales section.
yeah, I remember that. Yep, I remember seeing that on the Lulu website. That was that had a lot of stuff on it when we were looking at that. Prior to those earnings I was referring to earlier. So deck, interesting mention, because isn't this about the time of year where you start to see more people wearing UGG boots?
Yeah.
They own Uggs. Or I'm not sorry if they own Uggs, but it accounts for 51% of their total sales. But yeah, pretty sure
All
they
right.
own
So
Uggs.
here's what I was really quickly showing on Lululemon. Here's the "We Made Too Much." Here's the men's "We Made Too Much" section. This is where you're going to see a lot of their sales.
Yes, X Sniper. There's a lot of issues happening with some brokers. Some are not affected as others, but yeah, there are definitely issues.
Lots of issues across the board here today. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to keep looking at Lululemon stuff.
You
But
get
that was a
lost
good
in it for
mention there.
days.
And Joe here saying Lulu's next earnings December 4th. Yeah, we would want to
Yeah.
see into that quarter, right? The whole idea would be to trade going into that report.
NDS,
GSIT open. GSIT open looks like it popped higher initially here. GSIT trying to take out 16. GSIT. Let me actually bring this up in my broker, take a look at the level 2 and see how crazy it is. GSIT looks like it's coming back in a little bit there. It's actually only spread anywhere between 5 and 15 cents. There's a nice pump to the highs. 1749. I had mentioned 1750 as the high print. My broker listing it here as 1749.
I can't even pull it up.
Yeah, this another pop through 16, immediately sold into that pop again. That's 3 times since I've brought it here that I've seen him sell the pop above 16.
Still looks like this pattern has potential to go higher, but we're going to need to see that volume kick in if it's going to happen.
I agree. There we go. There's a move through 16. Okay. They yanked it again. They yanked it again, dude.
I think you could still see this trade up, but I think the big level is going to be 1750. I think that's the one we're going to want to keep an eye on, because I think we're going to get back up above 16. It looks like we're trying anyway. We just need to see that volume component.
And technically, it's 1749 is the high, but to all intents and purposes, you're right, 17 and a half. All right, getting a little bounce there in Ondas. That's good. A healthy pullback is probably all right, especially if we bounce a little bit. Rigetti is bouncing a little bit too. That pulled right out of the open. VIX melting. That's beneath 20 again.
Joseph, I don't know if there was news attached to you, Amy, or what the situation was, but this thing has been on a rip. So if it popped and out of the gate and then sold off, might be a near-term top.
Should we interview the CEO for you, Amy?
Should we?
Yeah.
I
think that's a yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of should. It's a matter of when does he come on?
Yeah. Okay. That answers that question. We'll get to work on that, folks.
I think, even if we're not going to trade you, Amy, because man, has this thing gone on a run. Still think, whatever information he has on the current state of this material and our supplies would, I think, be beneficial knowledge to us all.
Yep.
I have added to MRK. Not since the last time I mentioned that I added it, but I have added to MRK line.
Here is your MRK chart. Folks, 12 minutes here before we go to Trader Bacon. Really want to thank everybody that's here. Pat yourself on the back, smash up the like for yourself, for helping us fight through some of these technological issues here. Big time shout out to the producer for figuring out a back door to get 13 on here. Took a little bit, but we got it.
Yeah, I appreciate everything the producer was working on. I appreciate you guys for sticking around with us and patiently waiting for us to work through the issue. Sorry, there's not more trading we could do, or really that much enthusiasm for trading given the nature of today. But hopefully tomorrow we'll have these issues behind us and we can get back to business as usual.
Let me ask you: would you like to work in Amazon's tech support today?
I don't think I'd like to work in anyone's tech support.
Yeah. Oh, either. I was saying that tongue in cheek. Real quickly here, Zach saying, Ryan, the Ondas interview met with great praise. I saw many great comments on the web. Hey, that's awesome. To be honest, once we got to the weekend, I started to focus on football, Zach. I had bets to win, but that's good. That's good. You did great, Ryan. Thank you, Day Trader. We're always trying. We're always trying. We will I guarantee this will not be the last time we have to deal with some type of technological BS.
Oh, of course not. And thank you, Tom, for the props. And
appreciate that.
And you just brought up a really good point about something. How once the week is over, how you shift mode into it's football weekend, or whatever the case is. Make sure that folks, you're doing the same thing. Disconnect from the market when you have
GSITs go halt. Sorry for interrupting you, 13. Oh, they pulled it off. It went to 1756. Looked like it was going to halt there, and they yanked it back. Now it's pulling back here. GSIT just set some new highs there above 1749. Sorry for the early halt call.
Okay.
13, I'm sorry for interrupting you there, but
no, it's okay. Just trying to give some words of encouragement. And look at this move down in GSIT. Telling you, 1750, that was the area. Now,
look at the pull now.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you filled. Hope you got out on that.
Now the next thing I'd be watching for is to see if this $14 level is going to kick in and provide support. If it does not, then we're probably headed to 12 and maybe even lower. Now, if we do get the support and we are starting to curl back up to retest that 1750 area again, the next visit, given that it does come with more volume this time, we could see a move through it. We could be trading into a bit of an ascending triangle. So that's what I would need to see here next. We need to see that 14. Did I say 12? I meant to say 14. That $14 area needs to hold up. If not, we're going down to 12. But if it does hold up, I think we're going to take make another attempt at 1750 breakout.
GSIT, all you GSIT traders, tennis all out there. Nice stuff. Congrats on that. Anyone else in GSIT, congrats. That ended up working here. Shady's asking me, how'd you do on your bets? So I bet $90 total across Saturday and Sunday, and I ended up winning 160 plus 86. So what is that? 246? So I won just shy of 250, bet 90. So I was up over 100% on the bets this weekend. And we got more coming tonight. Wrapped and Anro, those were two of our movers earlier. RAPT was one of them. What's that doing here? Here's Wrapped. So that's still stayed under its VWAP. That's kind of disappointing. ANRO was the other one. Tenzin, I use FanDuel for my betting. So here's ANRO. This, interestingly enough, held its 9 EMA. Maybe this is curling back towards 12.
It does look like it.
Don't we need more volume though, 13?
Yes, you do. Yes. The answers to your questions so far have been yes.
Okay.
And you might start to get it here, but if we can expand like soon, like I'm talking like maybe it's like now, then we're probably going to see that move that takes us over 12. 12 is the big resistance area I see from right here. Okay, well, I mean, all I do is say something because now
all you have to do is talk about it. This thing's up 35 cents since we started talking about it.
Yeah, and I don't. However you want to trade this thing, just keep in mind that we are kind of extended here, especially on the 5-minute chart. So there's always that possibility that we don't get to 12, or we do get to 12 and it gets rejected there again. So make sure you have a plan in mind for how you want to trade this and take your gains.
Jay has a question for you. You hold a stock, it's trading at 10. A brokerage firm upgrades its price target from 5 to 6 on it. How do you guys interpret this? Jay, that's a good question. But I can't help it. But the way that I would interpret that is that the stock is overpriced, right? You have an analyst that sees the move, right? So the stock moved from whatever it was previously to $10. They had a $5 price target on it. We often talk about the analysts are playing catch up. Well, if they play catch up and only move that price target from 5 to 6 and it's currently trading at 10, I would say that there's probably some type of momentum or air trapped in that stock that brought it to 10. And I would actually view that as the stock price is overpriced. The analyst tried to play catch up, but it just didn't catch up all the way with the price. So in turn, it's still overpriced. How about you, 13?
I think the brokerage is. I think they like the stock, but they don't think that it's worth the price that it's at. I would still also interpret that as being overvalued. I also would be looking at a lot of other stuff too, but just on that. With just the information I have on hand, I would probably be taking some money off the table with that.
Okay. Jay says, I can't disagree more.
I don't have enough context to.
Yeah. So give us some more context and we'll help you there. EKS says, but it's the analyst accumulating, adding, or buying, insider buys. So that's actually a really good question, EKS. Analysts get paid for this. They get paid to cover stocks. Yeah.
Yeah. They also are interested in their own existence. So they're going to say something that is not going to piss the company off if it's a big company and they want to continue asking questions at their conference calls.
So the guy that heads our technology department here just posted the down detector charts for a whole bunch of services, ranging from everything from Pinterest to T-Mobile to Chime and everything in between. And like everything is seeing outages today. Absolutely. Fortnite, PlayStation Store. I mean, like it just doesn't end. There's a ton of internet outages out there. Okay, 4 more minutes here, 13. How did you do here today?
I didn't trade.
I know. I asked that facetiously because I'm in the same boat as you. I didn't really do much of anything here today.
I have no interest in trying to get into a position that I don't know if I'm getting the correct data on, for one, or going to even send my order through. Or not going to do it when AWS is having problems.
TradingView is still up. That's true. And you know what, Zach? Or who said that? Big Bear Hug? You know what? Of all of the services that have had problems here today, I think it's notable. TradingView didn't even have trouble for us in our licensed version. So TradingView did really well with this outage here today. NVTS, man, that was a really good move there. Bitcoin has had a good day. 111,500 on the futures there. Ethereum also trading higher.
I mean, there's a lot to like and there's a lot to hate when it comes to these analysts here, Jay. But I mean, one instance is you had a lot of analysts pushing Nvidia up even after the run it had already been on, and they just continued to guide higher. So it's I guess it just comes back to like I would just need more context. But when it comes to like a stock that's trading at $10 and analysts are upgrading from like 5 to 6. That makes more sense. What were you saying?
REPL, this actually did a good job holding its VWAP. I know it took a while to actually test it. It's been slow, but it did a good job holding it so far.
Yeah, I don't know what if why we're still getting a more of an up move in Amazon, big bear hug, but I don't know that if it's a Microsoft issue. Although we did um, recently have that date, the 15th, where Windows 10 is no longer going to be supported.
What date is that again?
That it already happened. It was on the 15th.
Oh, that was on the 15th. Okay, yeah, I'm on 11 now.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's if there's been some kind of attack to to launch on people still using Windows 10. If that's something that you may have read, but I don't know about this about the issue today being related to Microsoft.
All right, well, 13, guess what? We made it. We made it through the issue here today. We are about done here today. Any closing words for our group here on this glorious Victory Monday?
Well, folks, sorry we couldn't get better trades happening here today with all the issues we were having nationwide with Amazon Web Services. But just remember, as long as you turn it off for 30 seconds and turn it back on, everything should be fine. So hopefully we'll get better trading tomorrow. We'll get better opportunities. I won't have any technical issues, and I'll be here the whole show. So until then, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
All right, 13. Thanks for going through all of this. Really appreciate it. Let me close this really quick. All right. I am going to send you folks over to Trader Bacon. You don't have to go anywhere. Stay green. Oh, come on. We just can't deal with any more problems here today. I had to sneeze. Sorry about that. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Hopefully we won't be dealing with issues